Honorable members, shall we pray? Almighty God, we humbly beseech thee to look with favor upon this Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. Grant that it may perform its high duty as in thy sight. Give divine guidance to the President of the Republic, and our members of Parliament and ministers of state with discernment and vision, integrity and courage, that through the labors of government this land and people may be well and truly served, and that good purposes for the common human life be realized in our midst. O God, grant us a vision of our country, fair as it might be, a country of righteousness, where none shall wrong his neighbor, a country of plenty, where evil and poverty shall be done away with, a country of brotherhood, where all success shall be founded on service and honor shall be given to the deserving, a country of peace, where government shall rest on the will of the people and the love for the common good. Bless the effort of those who struggle to make this vision a living reality. Inspire and strengthen our people that they may give time, thought, and sacrifice to speed the day of the coming beauty of Ghana and Africa. Amen. Honorable members, kindly indulge me to skip item 2, 3, 4 in today's order paper. And now let's turn to item 5. Item 5. Item 5. Correction of votes and proceedings and that of the official report. We start with votes and proceedings, page 1. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. Page 6. Page number 7. Page 8. Page 9. Page 10. Page number 11. Page 12. Page 13. Page number 14. Yes, Honorable Minority Chief Whip.
Speaker, I'm sorry, if you may indulge me, I'll take you back to page 8. And I see item 5. The Right Honorable Speaker indicated that the Chief Whips are collaborating to effect corrections to the composition of committee listed on page 15 to 58. Hence, correction on those pages were stated. I think that was a significant part of the Speaker's directive, which is missing. So that needs to find expression on that page. The Speaker had directed that we should hold on as a result of collaboration between the two hips.
Yes, you are perfectly right. So I think table kindly take note of that. Because those pages were on the committees. And since we're going to do the committees today, he held it a bit. So please take note of that. Page 14. And finally, page 15. Honorable members, in the absence of any further corrections, the votes and proceedings of Tuesday, the 11th of March, 2025, is hereby adopted as a true record of proceedings. Honorable members, I have in my hands the 26th February 2025 edition of the official report. 26th February 2025 edition of the official report. The official report of 26th February 2025. Honorable members, in the absence of any corrections, the official report of 26th February 2025 is adopted as the true records of proceedings. Honorable members, before we move to the next item, which is questions. I don't know whether the minister is around. Yeah, I'll do that, yes. So, honorable members, before we turn to questions time, let me bring this to your attention. Yesterday, after the financial statement of government, it should have been referred to the appropriate committee. I think that was overlooked. So I hereby refer the financial statement and the estimates to the appropriate committees. I so direct. Yes, Leader.
Speaker, I have been running around to get copies of the statement, and I see my colleague, Honorable Abuja, how we used to do it. So up to this point, we still don't have copies of the statement. Yes, I concede soft copies have been shared amongst a few of us. But the tradition and the practice has been. Yesterday, I had my leader in full flight, commending the statement, saying all sorts of good expressions. However, they are failing to give us copies. We don't, yes, in Parliament, I agree to that. But traditionally, you need hard copies. No, Honorable, you are not listening. Yesterday, we also picked reports. We picked report, the Chief Webby is not here, and I don't want to say anything that he will come and will not be on good terms with me this morning. I don't want to start a fight this morning. Yesterday, I'm told, reliably informed, he took delivery over 200 copies. I'm told. You can rebut it if you have other information. So the 200 copies, are they keeping it only at the majority side? Why? Yeah. This one too, you want to use ratio? Are you using ratio to distribute the copies? Why? Speaker, I see my leader smiling. Is it the case that they are using ratio to distribute the copies of the budget? Yes. If it's the case, let him confirm. Up to this time, our side, we don't even have a single copy. Why? I don't have a copy. Leader, we still don't have copies. Yes, this morning, leader, just a minute. My deputy whip said that they gave the front bench 5 copies. But you know we are more than 5. No, our colleagues don't have. Speaker, I'm basically saying that they should not. Yes, the leader attempted making a point that to catch your eye, we should come by a ratio, and that was shot down. I don't know if he still has a latent. He's hatching an idea that even the distribution of copies of the budget, he will go by a ratio. Why? Leader, what do you say to that?
Honorable Abuja, have you seen your friend? Yes, leader.
Mr. Speaker, I have been in this chamber years when budget statements are presented, and it takes a couple of days before everybody gets a copy of the budget, a hard copy of the budget. But I want to assure him that we are following up to ensure that everybody gets a copy. I'm making all the necessary phone calls. But I know that he, in particular, has a copy. He has a copy because yesterday we were all here when the copies were brought, and his side, at least about 10 or 20 copies were distributed. About 10 or 20 copies were distributed. And on this side, also another 10 or 20 copies were distributed. But I'll follow up to make sure that everybody gets a copy, hopefully by the close of business today.
Thank you, leader. Yes, let me give to Patrick.
Mr. Speaker, I respect the majority leader and his promise, but not too long ago, the newly appointed CEO of the Ghana Publishing Company told the whole country that he's starting a 24-hour publishing. And you can't publish 275 copies of the 276 copies of the budget within 24 hours. What are you talking about? Ghana Publishing Company says they are doing a 24-hour economy shift. And you can't publish 276 copies of the budget within 24 hours. Come on, what are you talking about? And you are telling us you are now going to bring the policy. Jesus Christ.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes, leader.
Mr. Speaker, for the 24-hour economy policy to succeed, there are different aspects that must all work together to succeed. The publishing house actually works 24 hours. The logistics chain to move from the publishing house to this parliament is not yet 24 hours economy. When that one also becomes 24 hours economy, then you will see that when they publish, we will immediately get it. So it's on the way.
Thank you very much. Yes,
Mr. Speaker, I just want to buttress on the point that the minority chief whip made. In fact, we are not taking it lightly that we don't have copies. The same thing they did when SONA. We never had copies of SONA. And now the budget, they don't want to give us the opportunity so that we can punch holes into the budget. That's why they are holding it. They don't want us to have copies so that we can be able to study the document well, and when we start the debate, we can make constructive criticism to the budget. Mr. Speaker, yesterday I raised an issue under Order 195. It was because of this same matter. That was why I raised the matter. When Mr. Speaker ruled that it was a statement, and we know rules of statement, there must be adequate copies to be distributed even before the statement is read. But I didn't want to labor so much on the issue yesterday. So the majority leader, and Mr. Speaker, yesterday we were saying, now look at them. Nobody, they are not here. There are about 40 or 30 of them. You are not even here. But because yesterday was a budget, you see 187. Today, look at you. Look at you. You are less than 40, Mr. Speaker. And the majority, and this is the time the majority leader must know that his army have deserted him already. They are not even here to support you. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We are in the information world. We are in the information world. If they actually want to have a bite, they can go online. Yes, can go online. Whilst we prepare to bring you the budget statement. Thank you.
I'm surprised at my good friend. The majority leader, in fact, has conceded to the fact that, as we expected, things didn't go well. And he's given us his word that he will make sure we get copies. Here we are, our colleague coming to speak counter to what the majority leader is saying.
So leader, let's take majority leader's word. And I think.
Can you imagine that we should go online? Can you imagine?
Honorable members. No. Please, it's okay. I think we've discussed this a lot. We are taking the word of the majority leader. I think copies will be made available to members in due course. I hope tomorrow, by the time we start proceedings, members will have gotten enough copies. Honorable Professor Nyako, is it on the same matter?
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, with respect, I will plead with you to use your authority that moving forward, such important documents are made readily available for members. I think you can make that order, because regarding the budget statement, for example, the details are in the appendices. Mr. Speaker, the details, the meat that we need to consume are in the appendices. But Mr. Speaker, we don't have the document to even examine the appendices. So my plea with you is that there should be an order from your good self that moving forward, these documents should be made available to all of us. It shouldn't take us a day or two or three to get the document. If we are resetting, we must reset properly. This kind of resetting, for some of us,
thank you.
What do you say?
Thank you, leader. Thank you, Professor Nyako.
Resetting. Mr. Speaker, thank you.
Thank you, Professor Nyako. Please, at least let's all rest assured that the leader of the House has assured us that members will be getting copies by close of the day. I hope by tomorrow, by the time we begin the proceedings, members will have gotten copies. So let's bring this to a close. Now that I can see Honorable John Jinapo majestically walking in, we can now start with the question time. Honorable members, let's turn to item 6. Item 6 in today's order paper, which is urgent question. So let me respectfully invite our brother, Honorable John Jinapo, to take the question, the seat, appropriate seat. Okay.
We have a bride.
Yes. So before I will invite Honorable John Darko, member for Swami, to ask his urgent question, honorable members kindly indulge me to acknowledge in the speaker's gallery Honorable Dennis Hampson Ubua, a member of Parliament from Uganda's Parliament, who has paid a visit to Ghanaian's Parliament, as usual, to come to also study what we do here. And he's accompanied by Ms. Gracious Abra, who is a policy analyst in the Office of the Leader of Government Business. So, honorable member and your colleague, you are welcome. You know Ghana is your home. Feel free and be part of our system. You are welcome. Yes, Honorable John Jinapo, you are seated. Honorable member for Swami, John Darko, the minister is available now. You may ask your urgent question.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Energy and Green Transition the causes of power fluctuation in the Ashanti region and Swami constituency in particular, and what the ministry is doing to provide stable power supply to the people of Ashanti region and Swami in particular.
Yes, honorable member, honorable minister.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, let me thank my brother, Honorable John Darko, for this question. Mr. Speaker, the cause of the outage in Kumasi and in the Ashanti region are in two folds. Mr. Speaker, in December 2024, a major fault occurred on some underground cables that supplied power from Gridco to ECG at the Rich Bulk Supply Point substation in Kumasi. Unfortunately, there were no alternative routes to facilitate power evacuation and supply. What it meant is that in December 2024, when that major fault occurred, the system had not been configured to have an alternative route to allow power to evacuate it. And so from December through to January, there were several major challenges and outages in respect of supplying reliable power within that enclave. This went on and continued well into January, Mr. Speaker, and did not relent. And so on assumption of office, this administration took urgent steps to replace approximately 3 kilometers of faulty lines on that section in order to ameliorate the challenge. Mr. Speaker, I'm happy to announce that since those repairs were completed, power supply to that area has improved tremendously and significantly. We would continue to monitor the situation and to undertake emergency remedial measures when it becomes necessary. Mr. Speaker, on the Ashanti region and the challenges thereof, the demand has increased, which means that some additional work ought to have been undertaken in order to be able to absorb the increasing demand. Mr. Speaker, I'm happy to announce that in mid-February of this year, Gridco has completed a 145 MVA transformer at the Angomaso bulk supply point. This has also improved power supply situation in Kumasi and reduced the need to shed load from the Ridge substation. Mr. Speaker, I intend to visit Kumasi within this week to see for myself the extent of work and to commission that major bulk supply point. We are also undertaking some additional works to strengthen the network, make it more resilient, and ensure that we are able to supply safe, reliable, and consistent power. In doing so, Mr. Speaker, Gridco is working to increase transformer capacity in the region. ECG is constructing a double circuit tower line from Angumasu BSP to the airport substation. ECG is also upgrading 14 capacity transformers. New substations, when completed, would interconnect various areas such as Buankra, Banka, Adanse Asokwa, and Asante Achim Agogo. All this would ensure that it provides us with the needed flexibility to be able to supply power. But in summary, Mr. Speaker, I wish to inform this House that the power situation within that enclave has improved and will continue to work to ensure that we bring about reliable supply of power. Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honourable John Darko, any supplementary question?
Yeah, thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. By way of follow-up, Honourable Minister, are you able to give the people of Ashanti region, and especially my constituency, the timelines within which this problem will be resolved? Because I was in Kumasi over the weekend, and the problem still persists. I know that you've taken the steps to resolve the problem. Are you able to give us the timelines within which this problem will be solved completely?
Yes, Honourable.
I'll be surprised to hear that the situation has not improved, because the report I get indicates that the situation has improved. I've asked for the supply reliability report, at least for this week. It will tell us the outages and the consistent supply of power. When we get those data, I'll be willing to engage my colleague, and that together we would address whatever challenges that occur. But like I said, I intend to visit Kumasi within the week. So, Mr. Speaker, with your permission, Mr. Darko may want to prepare to host me as a brother on my arrival. Thank you very much.
Yeah, John, thank you. Yes. Honourable Member for Tafo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to follow up and find out from the Minister. From your answer, this issue has been persisting since December. I don't know, and you have assumed duty more than about a month ago. And I'm asking why you haven't taken a critical, why you haven't identified this issue as an emergency issue and have not visited Kumasi as at now. Thank you.
Yes, John.
Mr. Speaker, like I said, I identified it as an emergency issue, and that is why I commissioned ECG to install the additional bulk supply station, and also commissioned Gridco to hasten and complete the 145 MVA transformer. I got a report that they have completed it. And so, like I said, this week I would visit Kumasi to see for myself the extent of completion. Whilst they were doing the work, what I thought I needed to do was to give them the logistical support and the needed support. Now that the work is complete, and they have reported to me that it's complete, and they did so last week, this week, I will be visiting. Yesterday was a budget reading. Of course, I couldn't have gone yesterday. Today, this August House has summoned me to answer the questions. And so tomorrow, God willing, I should be able to visit Kumasi to see for myself the extent of completion, and I'll report back to my mother when I come back. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Esefua.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Old Tafo constituency shares some similarities with Swami. And of course, Old Tafo constituency...
Can you speak up? Can you speak up a
Old
bit?
Tafo constituency shares some similarity with Swami. In fact, before 2004, it used to be one constituency. My question to you is that because some of these works affect businessmen and businesswomen, especially people who own cold store, would you consider providing some announcement of a sort if you are not interested in a timetable, some announcement of a sort, so that such businessmen and businesswomen would be able to prepare themselves adequately when such works are being done? Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, as far as I'm concerned, the ECG does periodic announcements when these challenges occur. And I recall directing them to intensify the announcements. What we intend to do is to move a notch further. We should be able to have a customer database with their telephone numbers of all these areas, such that beyond announcing on in the newspapers and on the radio stations, we can send messages to affected customers so that they'll be aware of the challenges. And so I take my honorable colleague's suggestion in very good faith. It's a laudable suggestion. We'll continue to intensify education. And as Minister, Mr. Speaker, as Minister for Energy and Green Transition, and Mr. Speaker, you know that it was Ministry of Energy. Now, I'm not just Minister of Energy, I'm Minister of Energy and Green Transition. So we would work very hard to ensure that we transition into an era of communication technology to address these challenges. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
You see the way your friends, Abena and Honorable, let me give the opportunity to the Ashanti members before I come to you. 1, 2, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm grateful and also thankful to the Minister. Minister, I believe the Kumasi part is not only the Ashanti region we are looking at. I happen to have a unique problem. My constituency falls under 3 distinct districts. We have the Konongo ECG district, we have the Kontinase, and we have the Dubiase. Mr. Speaker, the major challenge we are having is with the Dubiase district. The district captures the entire Susufrehu zone in the Bosome-Frehu constituency, and our lights can go off about 1 week consistent. We share boundaries with Bojisango in the Adansia Sukwa. From that part, Abosamso, Samama, Insayemu, Tebeso, Freso, all those areas. Like, I don't know whether we are still part. The light off is so eminent. So, Mr. Speaker, I am asking the Minister if there is a particular reason. Is there doomsaw in that part of the area, or there's a particular reason? How is he going to deal with this matter to solve the power outages in the Susufrehu zone of the Bosome
Thank you, area? Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, what I do know is that when we have consistent deficit in power supply, it means that you have to shed load. And because there's a deficit and you are shedding load, in our local parlance, it is known as doomsaw. So if you have a localized outage like you are saying, where the transformer is overloaded, and so it keeps tripping, you cannot come out with a load shedding timetable. You cannot do that. We are not shedding load. As we speak, we are even exporting 300 megawatts of power outside Ghana. It's true, you are right, that we inherited a run-down energy sector, near collapse, choking from debt, and with a very weakened infrastructure. And so, because Because of the work we did before we left office, now there's enough power and you can even export. But it's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough to generate the power. When you generate the power, you have to evacuate it. When you evacuate it, you have to distribute it. The problem now is at the distribution end, where ECG's transformers are obsolete, outdated, or overloaded. And that is why you are having some of these major challenges. But Mr. Speaker, let me assure that under His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, and following the budget of yesterday, once we get approval, Mr. Speaker, we shall move into action mode and activate ourselves to deal with some of these challenges you are talking about. Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker.
Honourable members, please. No, I'm just following up. No, you don't have that. So, Professor Nyako.
Right Honourable Speaker, our very good friend JJ, Honourable John Jinapo, in answering Honourable Bosmefrehon's question, partially answered my question that bordered on installed capacity and the exportation of electricity to our neighboring countries. Now, he has assured this House that we have enough capacity. My question to him is that, is there a scheduled maintenance regime put in place by the Energy Ministry or the ECG to ensure that we don't go through these periodic problems? Because if we have scheduled maintenance regime in place, then I'm thinking that such occurrences shouldn't happen. So that's my question, if we have such in place to deal with these challenges we are facing in the region. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Honourable, I hope you got his question. Okay.
Mr. Speaker, there are scheduled maintenance regimes and there are unscheduled outages. So when there's a scheduled maintenance regime, it means that ECG has prepared that on this date, between this time to that time, they will put the lights out and conduct some scheduled maintenance regime. In that case, they have to pre-inform the customers and to make public announcement. And I've seen several of those, even as minister, where ECG would announce that from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m., the following areas will be off for some maintenance regime. That is done. The other one is the unscheduled ones, where, like my good friend said, because the transformer is overloaded, occasionally it trips. When it trips, at that material moment, it was not announced. But ECG has to move in immediately and inform customers that there's been an unscheduled outage. Men are on site trying to resolve it, and so customers or consumers should bear with them. Admittedly, I've reviewed their work, and I'm not satisfied with what I inherited. And so we're going to improve on that. We've already started some work. We've appointed a new MD. We've set up a team. They've come up with a roadmap. And so with the support of colleagues, I look forward to improving the sector further and ensuring that we deliver on our mandate. Thank you very much.
Honourable, we have so many questions. So, yes, Honourable Member for Odotobri.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would also like to thank the Honourable Minister for the update. If I heard you correctly, Minister, you attribute the doomsaw or doom to the fact that ECG still has obsolete or outdated equipment, or whether it's doom CACA or doomsaw or doom. Yes. What is your ministry doing to address this situation? If the ministry is doing something to address the situation, can you give us some timelines so that we can inform our constituents? Because within the Odotobri enclave, Dumso is something that we live with. At Jakobu, sometimes the lights go off and it takes days for the lights to come back. I want to believe this is as a result of the obsolete and updated equipment that you mentioned. So please give us some information.
Honourable members, I think we are going in circles, almost the same. Yes, Minister.
Mr. Speaker, like I said, with respect to that specific question, way back in December, they were experiencing what you call doomso or doom, and that is a fact. Even when we asked for a timetable, they told us that we should go and prepare our own timetable. We would not do that. We'll be honest, we'll be sincere, we'll be humble, and when there are challenges, we'll address those challenges. It's true that we inherited a very weakened energy system, and you are right. And I'm sorry that the previous administration couldn't hold what we left them, and as a result, you are going through 1 week of load shedding. But I assure you, under this administration, we will tackle this issue, we will deal with them. Already, the first question that was filed to me, I've assured him that that has been addressed. We will deal with the other issues as we move on. Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker.
Okay, briefly, let me give you. I'm giving them the opportunity because the question came from Ashanti. That's why I'm giving the Ashanti.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Minister has identified overloading as one of the challenges. However, in Achumampunua, where you have about 538 communities, half of them, as I'm talking to you, their lights are not on. I want to find out from the minister if he has a program to change the transformers that have been overloaded. Thank you.
Yes, Minister.
Mr. Speaker, yes, indeed, our program is to change all obsolete and outdated transformers. But we inherited a situation. When we took over, I visited the Tema Harbor. Mr. Speaker, we have about 3,000 containers stuck at the Tema Harbor. 3,000 containers, most of which contains transformers. Today, as we speak, Mr. Speaker, ECG has a total liability of 13 billion from supplies. Demurrage alone, because the transformers have been sitting there, by the end of 2024, demurrage 1.5 billion. Ministry of Energy alone, 6 billion worth of contracts were awarded without commencement certificates. In 2024, their total budget was not up to 2 billion, and yet supplies alone, 9.7 billion in 2024. These are facts, Mr. Speaker, and I stand at the dispatch box. I'm obliged to provide facts. And so I agree with you. And so we've set up a committee to investigate these procurement anomalies and breaches. Mr. Speaker, some of the equipment ECG has procured, it will last them 10 years. 10 years. And yet some of the equipment will expire in 5 years. So they've procured equipment that will last them 10 years, but in 5 years, some of those equipment would expire. And so, Mr. Speaker, we've had to take some drastic measures to deal with some of these issues. And so, with assurance, we will get around this, and once we're able to clear those transformers, we shall undertake a massive transformer replacement exercise, and I assure you that your constituency will be top on the list. Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker.
Honorable members, I think, let me give the final one to, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the minister, in answering his question, admitted to power fluctuation in the Ashanti region. But may I remind the minister that he is not more on this side of the house. And he has been appointed as minister responsible for energy to help stabilize the energy sector. So his continual lamentation is not the reason why he's a minister. Mr. Speaker, my question is that, Mr. Speaker, my question, he admitted to power fluctuation in Ashanti region. Is it the case that he is suggesting that we should, the good people of Ashanti region, for that matter, Swami, should do their own timetable as he has said previously, or he will come with his own timetable so that we can regulate the doomsaw and the doom?
Yes, John.
Mr. Speaker, it's true that I did say that we inherited a situation of doomsaw. That's a fact. We inherited it. When we took over, Ashanti region was going through massive doomsaw, erratic, inconsistent power supply. But I'm happy to announce that by dint of hard work, we've been able to resolve that situation. And we have commissioned a 145 MVA transformer at Angumaso bulk supply point station. Having injected that major transformer, it means that the situation is significantly improved. And so there will be no need for me to follow my predecessors' way of doing things. No, there will be no need. So you wouldn't publish your own doomsaw timetable. Leave it. The supply of power would improve the system, would provide electricity, and I thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity.
Thank you. Okay.
Earlier on,
Leader, hold on. Let me turn to Asante Achimnov.
Speaker, thank you very much for acknowledging me. Once again, I want to stand on order 63, 1, and speak the local language. Mebacho, Speaker, Mr. Ayasim Bisa, a question, Pacho. Wadaroma, Asante Achimnov na me free. Mfie bebree yen kan yansem problem kɛseɛ paa. Mimi wajuma okrom ho na mi radio station wo ho. Na yɛhwɛ the way a transform ansem ɛne mpɛn bebree yen kan ya ni nyina so. Me kromfoɔ no aka kyerɛ me sɛ ɔmo srɛ me me ne ɔpanin nkasa ɛyɛ minister nkasa sɛ bɛyɛ a mfie bebree atwa mu no na Asante Achimnov yɛn kan yansɛm nyɛ koraa ɛnɛ yi Awurade ayɛ adom yɛnya honorable energy minister ɛwɔ ha ɛne nti deɛ mesrɛ ne sɛ nka obetumi anya ɛyɛ mpanimfoɔ bi na ɔma ba bɛhwɛ Asante Achimnov nyinaa yɛ transform ansɛm ne yɛn kan yansɛm ɛwɔ hɔ ɛde aboa yɛn I want to thank you for indulging me. The question I want to pose to the minister today is I want to find out if the honorable minister can be able to help Asante Achimnov get a proper solution, a permanent solution to the lighting problem in my constituency. Most often, people complain about the power outages, and then also the fact that, they complain about the energy problem within my constituency. And so I want to alert the minister to please come to the aid of Asante Achimnov so that the power problems we are having in the constituency will be permanently solved. Thank you very much. I appreciate your contribution. Mr. Speaker, before him, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, we will.
I want to speak Gonja. No, Gonja.
Yes,
Mr. Speaker, Asan Kushu.
Honorable Minister, let me listen to.
No, Mr. Speaker, I'm speaking Gonja.
I'll come to you. I'll give you the opportunity. Let me.
Mr. Speaker, our colleague need to understand the rules. Mr. Speaker, if you read Standing Order 63, Mr. Speaker, and if you indulge me, I'll read Standing Order 63.1. They said, the proceedings of Parliament shall ordinarily be conducted in English language, except that a member may exercise the option to address the House in a local language if facilities exist. If facilities exist for the House, Mr. Speaker, I take it again. 63.1. Proceedings of Parliament shall ordinarily be conducted in English, except that a member may exercise the option to address the House in a local language if facilities exist in the House for the interpretation by the member for contemporaneous interpretation. Mr. Speaker, it's clear violation of our standing orders what he has done. We don't have facilities existing to translate language. You could see that the energy minister attempted speaking Gonja. He has started self. And if we don't regulate and continue this, we will end up speaking different languages that we don't understand, and hence that might not be able to capture, save, or interpret. So, Mr. Speaker, you should overrule him because he's completely out of order. He should ask the question in its proper context so that we can be properly regulated on this.
Thank you.
Completely violating order 63.1.
Thank you. I didn't overrule him anyway. Honorable members, I think this issue came the other time. This same gentleman spoke. And I believe we addressed that issue. Honorable members, please, Article 60, Standing Order 63.1, as the Minority Chief Whip, Deputy Whip said, if he may speak in the language that he feels he can. And it goes on to say if there's a facility to actually translate, but then he himself has translated it. The idea is that he said he wanted his people, his constituents, to actually appreciate what he is contributing in the House. So please, whatever it is, I allow him to speak. Let's move on. And Leader, I'm going to ask the minister to respond. And okay, let me hear you.
Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity. Speaker, there's a certain deliberate propaganda out there that members of my side, we can't speak English. There's a certain deliberate propaganda. And let the point be made that we have demonstrated the ability to communicate in English, in the English language, at the highest level. The Constitution of the Republic of Ghana.
Leader,
please,
Speaker, I think Speaker, you are going outside the discussion.
Speaker, please permit me. My brother, the first deputy minority whip, did this deliberately because this matter was settled. The Standing Order 63.1 that he quoted is placing a twist on the interpretation. Yes, you are placing a twist on the interpretation. And Speaker, this is what the provision says. Standing Order 63.1 says the proceedings of Parliament shall ordinarily, Speaker, please, my brother John Daku, please. It says the proceedings of Parliament shall ordinarily be conducted in English, except that a member may exercise the option to address the House in the local language. Speaker,
you go.
Can you listen to me with some patience and please be quiet. Speaker, my brother has elected to exercise that right to address the House in a local language. The provision proceeds further to say that if facilities exist in the House for interpretation by the member or for contemporaneous interpretation, can you listen? Can you be quiet? This is the facility, Mr. Speaker. This is the facility. Mr. Speaker, the member used this facility to interpret what is said to the hearing of everyone, what is said in the local language. And my brothers on the other side say they have a problem. So this attitude, Mr. Speaker, this attitude of the first deputy minority whip, always stampeding my members when they exercise their right under the law, is unacceptable.
Thank you. Thank you. Stop. Thank you. Honorable members.
The member the leave to ask a supplementary question, so the Honorable Minister for Energy and Transitional and Renewable Energy can therefore respond to the question. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Honorable members, please, I gave him the floor. He took my leave and I gave him the floor. He spoke the language, and if even the facilities didn't contemporaneously interpreted it, he did the interpretation himself. So for me, he satisfies 61-3. Let's move on. Minister, you may respond to his question.
Yes, because I started in Gonja, but because of time, I just want to assure. I want to assure my honorable colleague, who has distinguished himself in the English language as well as in the local language, that his constituency will be catered for. Thank you.
I think we have done. I can't turn you down, but please, with respect.
With respect, I caught your eye. You signal that I should wait. I will have the last bite. Speaker, with the greatest of respect, if I may.
No. Are you not the one regulating?
Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, in the minister's response, he said that some contracts were awarded without commencement certificate. He has just told us that there are about 3,000 containers at the port, and demurrage alone has cost this state about 1.5 billion Ghana cedis. Would the minister agree with me? Minister, would you agree with me that these constitute financial loss to the state, and for that matter, the steps that you are taking to ensure
honorable Honorable Deputy Minister Designate.
Yes.
Your question is turned down.
No.
Please.
Okay.
I
wouldn't
take your question.
Let me reframe it.
I wouldn't take your question.
Let me reframe it, Mr. Speaker. Let me reframe it, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my question is that some contracts were awarded without going through the normal or due processes. And now there are 3,000 containers at the port. I want to find out from the minister whether you will constitute a committee to go into these matters so that corporates will be brought to book.
Mr. Speaker, let me thank the Honorable Samson Ahi for asking this very intelligent and thought-provoking question. Mr. Speaker, let me assure him that we are already investigating it. Thank you.
Yes, finally, come to.
Speaker, a very interesting answer from the minister, describing the question as very intelligent. Speaker, my good friend, the minister, earlier, as part of his answer, I think if it was a question of semantics, he said that the energy sector economy that was inherited, one, he used the word rundown, a rundown energy sector economy as inherited. Then, on the latter part of his answer, he says a weakened energy sector sector of the economy as was inherited. So it is curious to know that as run down and as weakened as the energy sector was, the lights were kept on. Very interesting. And then he went ahead to say that excess power is being exported. Curious. I'm curious to find out from the minister. How are you able to export excess power when you have inherited an energy sector economy you describe as run down and weakened?
Thank you very much. Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, when you inherit an energy sector in 2017 with a debt of 9 billion and you collect energy sector levies 45 billion and you leave President Mahama with an energy sector choking from a debt of 80 billion, that is a rundown energy sector. That is a fact. 45 billion collected to solve a problem of 9 billion, and you hand over an 80 billion debt energy sector, that is rundown. How do you export power? Because when we were leaving office, we left projects like Ameri, AXA, GPGC, and the rest. And because those plants are available, and you are unable to supply to the domestic market, because the system is run down, you export it to countries like Burkina. So that is cogent, and that is sacrosanct, that is logical. I am here to answer a question as to why the Kumasi area is been suffering from erratic power supply. And my answer was simple, that system had obsolete equipment, had not been managed well, the system is weakened, that is why there's erratic power supply. But when we inherited it, based on the measures I outlined and enumerated, the sector has seen some remarkable improvement. Because I thought that my good friend, the Honorable Anodompre, who is leader, would have commended the Mahama administration rather than try to condemn us. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, we've now done with the urgent question. Honorable Gina Poster has 4 other ordinary questions to answer.
Speaker, taking a cue from how the first questions and how it generated interest, and considering that today
I know how to handle
ladies, today is their special day. If we could limit the supplementaries to 1-1, because the questions are a lot. So
yes.
we can quickly attend
to. So what I'm going to do is most of the questions are constituency specifics. And if it is constituency specific, we cannot give bypass to anybody to ask supplementary questions. So we will limit the supplementary questions to only the owners of the questions. And honourable member is asking for one. We will give two supplementary questions to the owners of the questions. I repeat, if it is constituency specific question, we are not going to allow anybody to ask supplementary question. We will only restrict ourselves to the owners of the questions, and we will give them 2 supplementary questions. Please, that is how we are going to go about it. Yes.
Speaker, my friend, the chief, we made an application. I disagree with him. Speaker, I want to agree with you on the tangent of limiting it to constituency specific. Speaker, the follow-ups are so important. So because we are limiting ourselves to the constituency specific, Speaker, then we should allow the members to exhaust their follow-ups at least, so that no other constituency, a member from
leader, respectfully.
Can I please conclude? Speaker, with respect, if I may conclude. Speaker. So the Honorable David Opoku, for instance, has whispered to me that he has the full horse. He wants to go the full horse. 3 follow-ups. And then there will be no other members from different constituency asking supplementary questions. So I will limit ourselves to the 3. So I will respect.
Thank you, honorable members. Today is the ladies' day, you see, so we should give them the opportunity to also take the floor. So, honorable Safi, I wouldn't give you the. I know where you are coming from.
God, with respect, you see, I agree with my colleagues, our beautiful women. We agree with them. Speaker, I was in the chamber early enough. I met Honorable Achampo, and then we were part of conclave. Speaker, what the front bench should be doing is that they should make an application to vary the order of business. They failed to do that. Government side, show a bit more of responsibility. Come early. You should come early. Speaker, the Honorable Achampo was here. The chief whip came in a bit late, but we are amendable. Because I was earlier suggesting that we should vary order of business. I suggested to you, so that our women can make their statement. When they depart, then the other business, they can be prosecuted. If my colleague is taking offense in my statement, I withdraw. Don't be offended. It's too early in the day. I withdraw that part of my statement. Sit down, please sit down. Sit down and get us copies of the budget. That is what we need. Sit down. Speaker, if he's offended by that statement, I have withdrawn. Yes, I don't mean any disrespect. I'm a man of peace. I don't mean any disrespect to him. So, if they had acceded to my request, we would have varied the order of business, deal with the Women's Day, then we go and zoom into business. Don't be offended. Chief Whip, why?
Speaker, this is not a matter of being late or otherwise. We are guided by early morning protocols. The decision was that the ministers whose questions are up for answering today have other businesses. So they pleaded that we shouldn't vary the business so they can attend to the questions, then they can leave. Then the women will have the rest of the day. So it's not about not being responsible or not taking. It's not
Thank you very much. Thank you for
it's
that.
Also to listen to the ministers.
Thank you for that intervention.
Speaker, even one question. See how long it took.
Yes, that was urgent question.
Rather get the questions out of the way, then the women can have the rest of the day.
Thank you.
My brother.
Honorable Secretary, please. I beg of you. I beg of you. Honorable Asafo, I beg of you, please.
Mr. Speaker, just to guide the House, in fact, if you check Order 77-2, for question time, it is supposed to be done within an hour. Yes. And we have already done 20 minutes. 40 minutes left for us to be able to finish with the question time. And I think you are well within time to be able to do so. So I don't think that we should be restricted with the number of questions whilst we have 1 hour to be able to do that. Thank you so much.
So, yes.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. As we agree that they should ask the questions, it's like the men just want to sabotage us. Because if they ask one question, about 6 of them, 7 of them want to ask follow-up questions. Mr. Speaker, it's our day. It's International Women's Day. And today is the day we assigned for women in this chamber. So either they ask one question after the main question, or the women should be allowed to do our statement so that every woman is speaking today. Every woman.
Every woman is speaking today.
Every woman is speaking today.
Very well. So please, we are all going to be guided. We will manage the time.
It should be just one follow-up question. That one will take it. But if it will be many, then they should hold on. Then we finish our questions.
I'll manage the House, please.
Continue. Why
Minister,
you don't want us to enjoy our day? You are not taking us to lunch too. You allow us to enjoy our day.
Mr. Speaker, in fact, it is one area the House has to make a critical relook at. These questions I'm bound to answer today were supposed to be answered last week. Myself and my technical team from the ministry, we came to sit here the whole day. Same thing happened to the Minister for Education and his team. He also came to sit here the whole day. The questions were not answered. Then they went back. And when we got to the ministry, I could see their mood. It didn't write a good picture about us as a house. They said, the whole day, we didn't work. We went to sit there, we couldn't answer. So does it mean they will be rescheduled? We've been rescheduled to come today. Early morning, they came, they've been here, sitting here. Let us know that once Parliament says questions time, like Honorable Asifa has said, should ordinarily not exceed 1 hour. We must operate within that 1 hour. And we must guide, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, question time is a serious time. And if care is not taken, one question can take the 1 hour, then our women today should have been their day. So if we had reprogrammed that, we wouldn't have been programmed today to come and answer the questions. Because there's a good reason why Women's Day should be Women's Day. So that we prioritize our women. But Mr. Speaker, if we can take what Doyo is saying, Honorable Doyo is saying, when the main question is asked, the supplementary question, you can management of the timeline within your bosom. So that we can restrict us the 40
Honorable
minutes.
Minister, thank you.
All and go.
Honorable Minister, thank you. Please, with all this discussion, it means we are all well placed. Questions are going to be managed. So let me now turn to normal questions. And before I do that, kindly indulge me to acknowledge our children at the public gallery. The first school is Alpha Hill School. Alpha Hill School. Alpha Hill School. Yes, they are here and being led by Belinda, Mrs. Belinda Saibi, who is the director of the Human Resource. And the school is located at New Juaben constituency. New Juaben constituency. Do you have the member here? Yes. So you are welcome. The second school is Future Generation Preparatory School. Future Generation Preparatory School. They are being led by Andrew Ayuba, who is the head teacher. And the school is located at Infansimine constituency. Infansimine constituency. Do you have the member here? Fancy my constituency. Do you have the member here? Very well. The third school is the Lost Redeemed International School. The Lost Redeemed International School. They are being led by Dozie Nunu Peku, so that tomorrow you take over from us when we all live here. So you are welcome, and we are sure you are going to be encouraged with what you see here. Thank you. Let me now invite Honorable Davis Ansan Opoku, a member from Praeso, to take the floor and ask his question. The minister is available now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I don't know if I could ask permission to speak in Ewe. Medekuku F1. Oh, Minister, Medekuku F1. Okay. Mr. Speaker, I want to ask the Minister for Energy and Green Transition the plans his ministry has to provide electricity to the communities along the Volta River within the Kwahu South municipality, which is aimed at aiding farmers in irrigation and to ensure an all-year-round production. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, whilst the ministry is working with the honourable member for the Praeso constituency for the extension of electricity to about 8 communities in his municipality, for which some electrical materials have been released, there is currently no such project along the Volta River in the Kwahu South municipality. The ministry would, however, wish to establish contact with the honourable member so together we can do a mapping of the areas. That's because I say so because some of the communities are hard to reach. We call them off-grid communities. And Mr. President has already announced that we'll be operationalizing the Renewable Energy Investment and Green Transition Fund, which aims to extend electricity to such communities. And so, Honourable Member, once we identify those communities and we do the mapping, would either extend the national grid directly to them, or we would go through what we call off-grid solar electricity provision to these communities. So, Mr. Speaker, this is what I have to say in respect of that. It is my hope that when the budget is approved, we shall secure the relevant funding to be able to undertake these projects. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. Yes, Honourable Davis.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, I appreciate the response from the Energy Minister. Just to say that on the 22nd of November 2024, I wrote a letter to his ministry with respect to this very project. I can understand there may be no program, but I pray that he initiates these steps to get, these are not communities without electricity. They already have electricity. All they require are transformers, step down or whatever, to be able to generate electricity along the river. I mean, these are commercial onion farmers, and it's going to aid them in irrigation. Yes, but in the response of the minister, he indicated the fact that his ministry and my office are working to provide electricity to some 8 communities. I appreciate the efforts from the ministry, but, Mr. Speaker, the items, the equipments, we do not have all yet. And I have all these gentlemen living within my communities, and per the agreement, I'm supposed to take care of them. And in the last 1 year or so, I've been doing that, and it's really draining my coffers. I will pray to the minister that he ensures the smooth facilitation of these materials to my communities so that at least they can finish their work on time and leave. They are enjoying in my communities and enjoying very well. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, the question suggested extension of electricity to the communities. But what I'm getting is that it looks like some areas have electricity, but you need transformers. Mr. Speaker, in order not to belabor the point, I would seek your permission to engage my brother after the question time so that I can get the details, and I promise you that I will attend to that. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. Honourable members, we turn to question.
Mr. Speaker, I'm not done. The minister refused to answer my question on the 8 communities. The outstanding materials that I needed in my 8 communities. The 8 communities that you mentioned in your response. I still have some items that are yet to be supplied. And per the agreement, I'm supposed to take care of the contractual fees for the engineers. And it's really draining me. So I need that assurance from you to facilitate that for me.
Mr. Speaker, still, my point is I will engage you after this. I'm not leaving. Right after this, I'll sit with you, and then we can deal with this issue. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's now turn to question 25. Question 25. And the question stands in the name of a member for Walwale, Honorable Dr. Abdul Kabiru Tia Mahama. I thought I saw him here. Yes, a minority whip.
Speaker, may I come under Order 88.3 and with the authority of the member seek your leave to ask the question for and on his behalf.
But he was here, isn't it?
Speaker is presently.
He was here.
Yes, he was. But he's giving me the authority to seek your leave to ask it for him.
Okay, let's hear you.
Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Energy and Green Transition the steps the ministry is taking to extend electricity to new areas in the following communities in the Walewale constituency: Walewale Periga, Walewale Tampuni, Walewale Kukwazuku, Nasia, Parigu, Junga, Yama, Yungu, Wulugu, and Pensekpe. Speaker, thank you for the...
I hope you were able to mention the towns well.
Speaker, I tried. I tried.
Anyway, so the owner of the question is here, so he will take the supplementary questions. Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Walewale Periga, Walewale Tampulin, Walewale Kukwazugu, Nasia, Parigo, Junga, Wungu, Wulugu, and Pasinkwe and Yama communities have already been connected to the national grid. In line with the ministry's policy, extension of electricity to adjoining communities is usually the work of the distributor, in this case, NETCO. However, following a request from the former Member of Parliament, our own sister, the former Member of Parliament, for the Walewale constituency, the ministry, based on the materials available, released some materials to NETCO for the expansion works to be carried out in the aforementioned communities. Mr. Speaker, following the receipt of this question, I've directed NETCO to give me an update on the status of the project. Mr. Speaker, let me assure my colleague that upon receipt of the update, we would ensure that whatever materials are outstanding are released and the communities connected thereof. Thank you.
Dr. Kabiru.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And thank you very much, Senior, for the response. Mr. Speaker, I have to ask the Honorable Minister responsible for energy and green transition whether or not there are plans, aside these communities I've mentioned, there are other adjoining communities in respect of them. We have Walewale Piriga, Walewale Tampulungu, Walewale Kukwazugu, Nesia, Parugu, Janga, Yama, Wulugu, and Wungu and Kwasimpia. These communities have settler, i.e. the Fulanese communities and sometimes the fisher communities. We have 100% electricity coverage. But when you factor into consideration these other settler communities, adjoining communities, our story of 100% electricity coverage is different. I was wondering whether the minister has plans to, have these adjoining communities being connected into the national grid. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we have a standard way of talking about access. Once the electricity gets to the town, we assume that it's available, so you can access it. So the access rate is not necessarily all the homes that can switch on the electricity, but that you have access to it, which means that if you take steps to access it, it's accessible. And so normally, like I said, it's the distribution company, because once under the National Electrification Way, drop the lines, it's the duty of the distribution company to then hook on individual customers, because that is where they also make their revenue. But in some circumstances, because of logistical challenges, the ministry has to intervene. And so we'll consider your communities and provide the needed support for NETCO so that they can intensify. And we call that intensification, which means that there is access, but like you said, some adjoining areas do not have the electricity. So through intensification, we then spread the electricity to such communities. Thank you.
Yes, the last question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I will want to find out from my respected senior if you have timeline in respect of the update from the NETCO, when they are expected to bring their report, and if there are, when around which time can I follow up for information on same. Thank you.
Very well. Timelines.
Yes, we have given them a deadline to submit it next week. So that's the timeline. Thank you.
Very well. Honorable members, let's turn to question 4.3. Question 4.3. And the question stands the name of a member for Old Tafo, Honorable Vincent Ekwao Asafua. Honorable, you may ask your question now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. I want to ask the Minister for Energy and Green Transition the measures being taken by the government to address the rising cost of energy and its impact on businesses and households. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, it is true that as we move from solar to thermal energy, because of the fuel mix, it makes the cost of electricity much, much higher. Also, the foundation gas, which we used to get from Jubilee for free, the period has elapsed. And so we must pay for that gas. Incremental gas is also quite expensive. The depreciation of the city also makes it quite expensive. And so, Mr. Speaker, we need to pursue a multiplicity of measures in order to address them. One of it is an announcement by the government to construct a second gas processing plant. This year alone, we require about $800 million to procure liquid fuels. If we had established the gas processing plant, we could save $400 million of that amount annually. And so if we're able to do a gas processing plant and process domestic gas, it one strengthens the currency, it makes fuel readily available, and it gives you cheaper alternative source of fuel, which can be passed on to consumers. Also, we are diversifying our energy mix and bringing in renewable energies, which though has an initial cost component, which is higher, over the years when you amortize it and scale it out, it is much, much cheaper. Also, education for consumers so that we can adopt efficient way of consuming electricity. Efficiency is about achieving the same thing, but using less input. And so those are some of the things we are looking at. And also our refinery capacity, so that we can refine our own products and make it much, much easier and accessible to the people of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, these are some of the few measures, in addition to other interventions that we intend to roll out, so that eventually we can have a cheaper source of supply of power. But lastly, we are seeking to export more power. When we export more power, we can earn foreign exchange and use that to subsidize domestic consumption. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Minister, I think you are on record to have mentioned somewhere that we should expect a 58% increment in tariffs. As far as I am aware, such adjustments are supposed to be done by the PURC. Is this something that we should look forward to? Or, yes, I think there's a publication.
Honorable, may you repeat the question?
So, I was saying that he's on record to have indicated that we should expect a 58% increment in tariffs. And I am asking, how soon are Ghanaians going to see that increment in tariffs? And was the PURC also consulted with that figure that was stated out there? Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I am not on record to have stated that we should expect a 58% tariff adjustment. If any media house reported that, that is a misrepresentation, and so I haven't said so. What I said is that as part of our meetings with the IMF, they indicated that as a condition to the IMF program that Ghana entered into, the administration agreed that there should be quarterly adjustments and there should be a major tariff adjustment in September. The administration also agreed to provide them with the tariff setting methodology. And based on their own assessment with the tariff setting methodology, taking into account the cost of rising fuel, the depreciation of the currency, inflation, they propose that we increase electricity tariffs by 48%. That is a proposition from the IMF. The PURC will do the needed work, do all the assessments, and the PURC will take their work from there. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much. Now, please, let's turn to question 4.4. Question 4.4. And the question stands in the name of our Deputy Minority Leader, Member for Asokwa, Honorable Patricia Appiagyei.
Right. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Leader, may you speak up on the phone for us?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Energy and Green Transition the state of the rural electrification intervention made by the government since 2017. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, from 2017 to date, when we were leaving office in 2017, and I recall the budget quoted 86, but I'm told that some additional work has been done, and it puts it at 84% from 2017. Currently, we're at 89. From 2009 to 2017, we took it from 54 to 84. So a 30 percentage point increment from 2009 to 2016. From 2017 to 2024, it's now gone to 89, meaning that it's increased by a 5 percentage point increment. These are the records and the statistics. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. But to just cap it up, we aim to achieve universal access to electricity, which means that we have to do 90%. And we are putting in place the needed programs subject to budgetary provision to achieve that. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable
Thank you,
Leader.
Mr. Speaker. As a follow-up, I thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for giving us an update of 84% achievement. I'm not going to, Mr. Speaker, I'm not going to bother the minister too much with the details, but I would like to find out from the minister, would it be possible to provide for the House the remaining 16 or 15 point something percent that is left to be done? Because if I follow the questions on the floor, there are so many rural areas that are asking for that intervention. So is it possible, if you can give us the assurance, to come and apprise us of the remaining 15 point something percent and your plan, your strategic plan towards achieving that one? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister.
Under your guidance and permission, we're more than willing to do that. Indeed, we have the data. It's mostly, like you said, off-grid communities, like island communities, communities that are very far and difficult to reach. And so we'll provide that, as well as provide you with the strategies we intend pursuing to achieve universal access, some of which, like I said, has to do with off-grid solar solutions. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Only to add that I'm prompting the Assurance Committee to take note of that, because I will require the answer immediately. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah, Boama.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to ask a supplementary question. I want to find out from the minister the model in using to arrive at a determination of access. No. I'm asking this question with regards to the answer you gave, that between 2009 and January 2017, there was an exponential increase, the access by 30%. And between 2021 to date, 5 percentage points. I want to understand the formula that is used in arriving at that, whether there are different models in arriving at that. Thank you.
Yes, Minister.
There are no different models. It's one standard, and the standard is using the population and housing census. We know all the communities. And so assuming you have 10,000 communities, and maybe 5,000 of the communities, you've dropped the electricity, then you assume that you have 50% access. And so if you drop electricity in more communities, then it increases the access rate. And so the access rate is based on the population and housing census, taking into account the number of communities. But as you move ahead, it becomes more difficult, because then you are dealing with difficult to reach communities. And it's like that in economics. If you get to a level, you need more work to, it's more or less like diminishing returns kind of. And so that is why normally when you start from a lower level, it's much easier to move up. But when you get to a higher level, you will need to put in more in order to bring more communities. Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honourable members, you turn to question 49. Question 49, and the question stands in the name of a member for Etiwa West. Etiwa West, Honourable Mrs. Loretta Koko Asante.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity.
I hope you'll be able to mention all the names well.
I'll try.
Is that the caveat that you will try?
Yes, I'll try. I rise on Order 88. To ask the Honourable Minister for Energy and Green Transition, when the electrification extension, which was to be undertaken as an emergency turnkey project in 2024 in the following communities, will begin. I. Kwaben. I. Abomosu. I. Tumfa. Ivy. Moso. V. Sankube Nase. VI. Asunafo. VII. Asamama. VII. Akwabuaso. IX. Ikoso. X. Jamase. XI. Pame. XII. Awinari. XII. Akrupon. XIV. Banso. XV. Boma. XVII. Abisim. SVII. Safari Chrome. XIX. Yamama. XS. Akukuso. And then Safari Chrome. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member.
Mr. Speaker, these are 20 communities that have been listed. And Mr. Speaker, in August 2024, the ministry entered into a 10-key contract, that is to say, to procure, supply, install, and hand over with MS Eco International Limited. My checks indicate that due to funding constraints, right from August, the project has stalled. As you are aware, we are still in the transition period, and until a budget is approved, as minister, I simply cannot execute any financial commitment. Also, you will need financial clearance from the Ministry of Finance before we can commence in terms of a commencement. And so this is top on our agenda. Once the budget is approved and the funding is made available, we shall reactivate this contract and ensure that these 20 underlisted communities are electrified. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Minister, I think electricity extension to communities, existing communities with electricity, I mean, it's becoming an issue in so many communities. Even in my constituency, so many communities that needs electricity extension. So please look at it.
Mr. Speaker, that is very true. And it's all because the distribution company is financially weakened. For instance, if you take the cash waterfall mechanism, ECG was to get 49 million. Their salaries, assuming they don't do anything, the salaries is 110 million. And yet, based on the collections, ECG was to get 49 million. And so they are unable to pay salaries, let alone extend electricity to communities. And if they don't extend the electricity, they wouldn't get the revenue in order to even pay their workers. So it's something we are looking at and working very hard to deal with. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister for Energy and Green Transition. On behalf of the House, let me thank you exceedingly for attending upon the House to respond to your own colleagues. Honorable Minister, we are grateful to you and you are hereby discharged. Leadership, are we summoning the Minister for Local Government?
Speaker, yes, we have to take him.
Yes. So, Minister...
He's a senior member of the House, so
yes.
Today we have to take him.
Mensurokra.
Speaker, that is the directive the government side is giving, the signal, that yes. After the energy minister, we should proceed to take the local government.
Yes.
I have no objection, except to put on record that I am not the one delaying the celebration of the Women's Day. I am not the one.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, again, we are going to manage the House. Help me. I may not entertain a lot of supplementary questions, and you should understand the reason. So, honorable members, our own senior brother is on the chair, coming to respond to his own colleagues. Yes, let's turn to question 26. Question 26. And the question stands in the name of a member for Offenso North, Honorable Dr. Fred Che Asamoah. Honorable, the minister is available now. You may ask your question.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to ask the Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs when the University of Local Governance and Development Bill will be laid to allow the operationalization of a university in Akumadine in the Offenso North constituency.
Yes. Yes. Honorable Minister, you heard the question? Honorable Fred Che, I think I've always been talking about the fact that when you speak, you don't hear it loudly. So just get up, ask the question, this time loudly. Ladies.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask the Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs when the University of Local Governance and Development Bill will be relayed to allow the operationalization of a university in Akumadine in the Offenso North constituency. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the bill for the establishment of the University of Local Governance and Development, ULGD, was submitted to this House last year to the 8th Parliament. Unfortunately, the 8th Parliament was unable to pass it. Government has just been formed, and budget statement was presented yesterday. Mr. Speaker, in view of this, I wish to indicate that the Ministry will take steps to resubmit the bill to this House, and after request has been made and executive approval achieved jointly by myself and my brother, the Minister for Education. Mr. Speaker, once that is done, the bill will be relayed to this House for approval. Mr. Speaker, it is envisaged that once the necessary approvals have been sought and the bill has been passed, the university will promote academic and professional excellence in local governance in this country. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to the Minister for the response. Mr. Speaker, I want to follow up. You know, the Local Government Institute, which was established in 2003 by Act 647, is to help build capacity for local governance under the Local Government Ministry. Mr. Speaker, now that it's going to be a university, will the minister be willing to move its supervision to the Ministry of Education and to be properly regulated by the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission Act 1023? Because I'm reliably informed that the Tertiary Education Commission is not having any documentation as to the process in establishing this university of higher education. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the bill in question, which is being asked to be relayed, is a joint bill by my good self and the Honorable Minister for Education. And I know GTech work closely with him, so clearly that will not be a problem. As to whether they are aware or they are not aware, myself and my good brother, the Minister for Education, will do this jointly together. So don't entertain any fears at all.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to follow up. Since this institute is being affiliated to Kwame Nkrumah University, and it's been around for more than 10 years, and per Act 1023, there are some consequences. And this institute is issuing some tertiary level certificate. How early is the minister envisaging to relay this bill and to make sure that we can get it passed in order not to affect the students that might obtain some certificate from this institute or the university that we intend bringing? Thank you.
Minister, how early can we?
Mr. Speaker, the university has been programmed for in the budget that was presented yesterday. So even if the bill is relayed in this house after its approval, the budget will have to be approved. And secondly, since it's a joint bill between myself and the Minister for Education, I unilaterally cannot say today or tomorrow, but the two of us have prioritized this one, and we are taking urgent steps to make sure that it's relayed before this house. Mr. Speaker, you agree that the bill was laid. It was Parliament in the 8th Parliament that was unable to pass it. And as a Parliament, I was not Parliament. Parliament collectively was unable to pass it in the 8th Parliament. And clearly, Mr. Speaker, this is what I think that both sides agree, that is a matter of urgent national importance and must be prioritized. So I want to assure my respected colleague that your fears will be done away with. Don't entertain any fear. Once you have the zeal and the will, we will collectively work together and the university will be established. We are not talking of only the Akumadan, as you have stated. The university may have even campuses in Akumadan, Accra, and even Tamale. So it's something that we are all prioritizing, and it will be done.
Thank you very much. No, it's okay. No. I wouldn't. You've asked two supplementary questions. Let me give the man.
Speaker, the minister gave an...
Leader, let me give you, then I'll come back to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, this particular one, I am just allowing one or two because it is not constituency specific. This goes beyond the constituency. That's why I'm allowed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Let me congratulate the minister for reassuring the House that the bill is going to be reintroduced into Parliament. But are you going to amend it? Are you going to reintroduce some few components into it, or you are going to bring the bill to the floor of the House in that state and form that it was before the 8th Parliament was dissolved? Thank you.
Yes, Honourable.
Mr. Speaker, law should be dynamic. And looking at the stages that we went through in the 8th Parliament, you strongly believe with me that we wanted to even pass it on a certificate of urgency. And much work was done about it. The committees of Parliament have just been formed. So we can have what we call pre-laying before the actual thing will be laid, so that we can have expeditious passage of the bill to have our university running.
Yes, Honourable Minority Whip.
Speaker, the minister spoke to the truth, reliving the fact that the first attempt was to pass it under certificates of urgency, and the fact that we attempted passing this into law at the 8th Parliament. Fact is, then it was shepherded by the local government minister. And back and forth, I recall the Honorable Dafemekwo and colleagues who strongly contended that it had to be shepherded by the Ministry of Education. Now, I hear Minister saying it is going to be jointly sponsored. Are you saying this on authority, or you are yet to do the consultation with your colleague, Minister of Education?
Yes. Mr. Speaker, it is going to be a university for Ghana, not university for a ministry. And when matters of education comes, matters of education will have to involve the Minister for Education. And that's why I'm willing that myself and the Minister for Education must have something to do. Because education generally will have something to do with the Minister of Education. So I'm not trying to say that I will wholly take it without the input and for the expeditious passage. I don't see my former minority, the respected Minister for Education, in putting any stumbling block. Even though in administration, when there are many clearance points, decision making becomes difficult. But he is one of the fastest leaders that I know in terms of taking quick decisions. So the two ministries shepherding it will rather iron things out and get the best for the country, but it will not put a stumbling block. But I'm saying it on authority that I'm in discussion with him. We are discussing. We have not yet concluded.
Well. Honourable members, leader, I thank you. I thank you respectfully. So, Honourable, we turn to question 27. Question 27, and the question stands in the name of a member for Kwabri East, Honourable Akwasi Jemfi Onyine Champon. Honourable, you have the floor now.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. So, Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Honourable Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs when work will resume on the Mampontein market, which has been abandoned in the answer since 2012 in the Kwabri East constituency. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Western Housing, through the Ashanti Regional Coordinating Council, in the year 2012, contracted High Brain Limited to construct Mampontein Jubilee Market at Mampon at an amount of 3,475,685 Ghana cedis, 40 pesos. Works at the market commenced on 1st August 2012 and was supervised by ABP Consult Limited, Kumasi. The scope of work covers the following: construction of 3-story administration block, construction of 2-story lockable shops, banks, supermarket with warehouse, market store, daycare center, clinic and ancillary structures, butchers shops, external works and services, water, electrical and mechanical installation. Mr. Speaker, the project, however, stalled by 31st December 2012, and by 31st August 2013, the contractors suspended operation and left site. No construction activity has been carried out since then for the past 13 years, leading to the deterioration of the uncompleted structure. The current completion rate of the project is 55% since 2008. Mr. Speaker, the ministry will collaborate with the Ministries of Finance, Western Housing, Works, Housing, Water Resources, the Ashanti Regional Coordinating Council, and the Kwabri East Municipal Assembly to explore available funding options and ensure completion of the project. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honourable Onyina, any supplementary question?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, during yesterday's budget statement, the Honourable Finance Minister told us that the ministers responsible for the respective ministries will come in and give us detailed
analysis of their own budget. I would like to ask the Minister for Local Government that is this project captured in his budget for 2025? And if it is not, I would like to plead with him earnestly to consider capturing it, since it's been stored for quite a while, and that's 12 years now. So thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we have stock of all the projects initiated by agencies and authorities under our ministry. And this project is one of such projects. What the directive the Minister for Finance gave was that we must prioritize. Colleague, once these have been brought to my attention, the needful thing to be done is that after answering the question, see me so that we see how best we can bring this matter to a rest. Because this is one of the oldest projects in the ministry, awarded in 2012 for the past 13 years and at 55% completion rate. I think we have to put the matter to rest. We will complete it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable Patrick Guama. Honorable Patrick Guama, did you hear your friend? He said the member should see him. The member.
Mr. Speaker, to see him for what?
You resume your seat.
You are inviting the member into trouble. I know my brother Ahmed.
You resume your seat. Majority Chief Whip, I haven't come to you.
Mr. Speaker, it's
I'm not
former
inviting
saying
anybody.
that they are colleague members of Parliament. They can engage on a topical matter such as this.
Honorable Patrick Guama. I mean, I'm happy that the minister is even inviting him to see him for engagement. Honorable member, let me hear you for your supplementary question.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. And I would also like to thank the minister for inviting me to see him. I'm very grateful, Minister. My next supplementary question is, Honorable Minister, in the interim, the market women are sitting under high tension. Yes, and they've been under the high tension for quite a while. I would like to ask, is there any provision that we can make for them so that we will get them off this hazardous place? And also, is there any provision that probably we can link with the Ministry of Health, even probably to just have some tests and look into what issues these sitting under high tensions have caused, their health-wise, because it's very important that our mothers receive this treatment. Otherwise, the next 10, 15 years, they might start suffering the consequences of sitting under this high tension for quite a while. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, generally, these are matters of governance. Something that was started in 2012. For the past 13 years, we've not completed it. I think the priority now should be how best we can address that one, to get that one done. Because if you look at the completion rate, it's about 55%. We only need the 45% to complete it. If we're able to prioritize this, they will move in, because they've been at where they are for a very long period. So the few months or days that they will have to wait for us to complete it and bring them, I think they may be able to have that patience. So, my colleague, I want you to bear with me. I have a burning desire to get this one fixed, and we are in it together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, return to question 2.8. Question 2.8. And the question stands in the name of the same honorable member for Kwabri East, Honorable Kwesi Jamfi Onyine Champo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise again to ask the Minister for Local Government and Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs when work will resume
on the abandoned AstroTurf project at Abuaso, funded by the District Assembly's Common Fund in the Kwabri East District.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, Right Honorable Speaker, the Ashanti Regional Coordinating Council, with funding from the District Assembly Common Fund, DACF, commissioned procurement for 20 normal AstroTurfs. The Kwabri East Municipal Assembly intended to site the project in Mamponten. However, the site was changed to Abosu in the same municipality because a similar project was sited at the original site. Mr. Speaker, the Kwabri East Municipality was part of the package including the Asante Akin South of Finsu North Municipal Assembly, which was awarded to Artistic Construction Solutions Limited, totaling an amount of 40,940,962 cedis. The projects were expected to be completed in 6 months. The consultancy firm responsible for the supervision of the project is FEDEMS Limited. Mr. Speaker, the AstroTurf project commenced in June 2024. Payment of 15% mobilization was given to the contractor. Work on the project was stalled since September 2024 due to delays in honoring the interim payment certificates by the administrator for District Assembly Common Fund. The contractor has since left site for non-payment of the IPCs. Currently, the project is about 15% complete. The Ashanti Regional Coordinating Council is taking appropriate steps to review the contract and the process of the pending certificate to enable the contractor to return to site. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. We turn to question 20. Or you have supplementary questions?
Just one.
Well, let's hear you.
Mr. Speaker, Honorable Minister mentioned that when the projects will be reviewed, I would like to first of all ask if there were any contractual issues with the project, and secondly, what are the timelines that he will propose for the payment of the IPCs that have already been submitted. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the funding source for payment is the District Assembly Common Fund, even though the project was awarded at the Ashanti Regional Coordinating Council. And you know, similar projects was awarded across the whole country. I'm not saying that we have reviewed, but what I'm saying is that I don't know why, just for not honoring the payment certificates, interim payment certificates, after the contractor has been given 15% mobilization, he should leave site. That's why I say that the Ashanti Regional Coordinating Council is taking process to be able to review why the delay and how best we can complete it on time. That's what I meant.
Thank you very much, honorable members. Let's turn to question 29. Member for Finsu North again, Honorable Dr. Freche Asamoah. Honorable, you may ask your question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I rise again to ask the Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy, and Religious Affairs, when the ongoing construction of 6-unit classroom block in Akumadine and in Kinkenso, and the teachers' quarters in Brahuma Rural Clinic at Akrofua will be completed under the Integrated Rural Development Project 2.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Right, Mr. Speaker, the Ministry through the Social Investment Fund, SIF, signed a contract dated 4 September 2024 with Backstar Ghana Limited under the Integrated Rural Development Project, Phase 2, for the construction of the following infrastructure sub-projects in the Ofinsu North Municipal Assembly to be completed by 24th March 2025. The contract covers the following: 6-unit classroom block and 8-seater WC toilet block with mechanized borehole at Islamic Basic School, Akumadan, and that is 35% completed. 6-unit classroom block and 8-seater water closet toilet block with mechanized borehole at RC Basic School at Inkin Castle, and that is 40% completed. 1 normal 4-unit teachers' quarters with mechanized borehole at Brehuma, and that is 52% completed. 1 normal 2-bed nurses' quarters with mechanized borehole, and 1 normal rural clinic with mechanized borehole at Akrufa, and that is 15%, and these are 15% and 25% completed. And then 1 normal mass in situ concrete convert at Akumadan, and that is 98% completed. On the average, the projects are about 37% completed and expected to be completed as scheduled amidst previous delays and implementation. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable, I'll give you last slot. Supplementary question.
Mr. Speaker, I have 2 supplementary questions. So if you would like, I want to put the 2 together. The first one, Mr. Speaker, the completed time was originally 24th of March 2025. And with the completion rate as given by the Honorable Minister, are we on schedule? And how fast would the Minister assure us that this project, which is dear to the people of my constituency, will be completed? And 2, Mr. Speaker, I know there are some pending IPCs for this project, and I would like to ask them, the Honorable Minister, how will he assure us that these IPCs will be honored timely? And last question, Mr. Speaker, Brehuma is in my constituency. I know there very well. In fact, on the Kumasi Tamale stretch, when you get to Kobreso, you branch off at Kobreso, then you get to Pokukrum, you go to Mentukwa, then you get to Brehuma. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Minister stated 52% completion for the teachers' quarters. I'm not really sure because I've just gotten an update of the project. Maybe it might be a typo if the Honorable Minister, which I'm very grateful to him. In fact, he is on and he is willing to help us complete. Will you confirm whether it's either 0.52, 5.2, or 52%? Because there's a huge difference between 5.2 and 52%. It's almost 46.8 percentage points. So if the Honorable Minister will double check his figures, since this house is a house of records. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, this is the rate of completion or the stage situational status that have been given. And I know my technical team is telling me that it's 52% completed. My colleague should let us see to how best we can complete it. And you agree with me that the completion date should have been end of this year, this month. Clearly, we are in transition period, and you know what transition periods are. So maybe from here, after the transition, we must see how best we can progress to be able to bring these things. We have classrooms, and these are small projects that the SIF can see to their completion. And I believe that even the officer in charge visited this site before the answer was given to me. So, Mr. Speaker, the statistics I've given are accurate, and we will see to the completion of it. And that's why, holistically, we said the entirety of the project is 37% complete. So we are not up to 50% yet. So it will be completed.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, we will take the last question. And the question stands in the name of a member for Abuakwa South. Abuakwa South, Honorable Dr. Kinsela Jiman. Is Honorable Member around? I may permit any member to take the question for and on behalf of honorable member.
Speaker, the member has mentioned to me that he wants to step down the question.
You want to step down the
yes,
question?
Temporarily step it down.
Very well. Very well. So on that note, on behalf of the House, let me express our profound gratitude to the minister, one of our own, of course, for attending upon the House to answer questions from his own colleagues. Honorable Minister, we are grateful to you, and you are hereby discharged. Honorable members, statements time, and I believe today is the day for the ladies. But before we take the statement from Honorable Comfordoyo, honorable members, I want to inform the House that we have a guest here. The official government statistician is here. We more or less summoned him to apprise us with some statistical issues. So after the ladies' presentation, because I've been asked to give every lady in this chamber the opportunity to speak. That's their request, and their request has been heeded to. So immediately after the ladies, we will ask that the government statistician will be given the opportunity to engage members of parliament. So, Professor, please kindly hold on for us. We'll give you opportunity to. So, honorable members, let me now invite Honorable Comfordoyo to read the statement. I believe the statement is for and on behalf of the entire ladies here. So, Honorable Comfordoyo, you have the floor now.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Right, Honorable Speaker. Today, the Women Caucus Parliament is celebrating International Women's Day. Mr. Speaker, International Women's Day is a global occasion to celebrate women's achievements in social, economic, cultural, and political spheres while acknowledging the ongoing challenges to gender equality. Recognized by the United Nations to serve as both a celebration and a call to action to address barriers that hinder women's full participation in society. This year's theme is Accelerating Action for Affirmative Action. Mr. Speaker, as we commemorate this day, we must also recognize and celebrate the phenomenal women in our modern era who have shattered ceiling and made significant contributions. I extend special recognition to our Vice President, Her Excellency Professor Jainana Opoku Agyeman, and other distinguished women in leadership, and His Excellency John Dramani Mahama for honor done to women. Mr. Speaker, today we dedicate this celebration to all activists in Ghana and around the world who continue to fight for women's rights. I echo to all women who wake up daily, working through the rain, dusty, and the scorching sun to sell in the market, farm, and engage in small businesses to support their families. We honor the struggle of women who walk long distance for water, fight against discrimination, and persevere through hardship to educate their children. Mr. Speaker, you have risen beyond words and created a neighborhood environment for women by passing the Affirmative Action Bill. We say thank you. Mr. Speaker, the President, John Dramani Mahama, has also paved way for women by giving us a female Vice President, Her Excellency Professor Jenana Opoku Ajiman. Women in Ghana say Ayeko and thank you. Mr. Speaker, the men should not forget that God created men because he wanted them and created women because he needed them. Every man needs a woman. Mr. Speaker, Mr. President, you need a woman to complete your task. The police service needs a woman. The fire service needs women. The customs service needs women. Corporate organization, you need women. Mr. Speaker, we are ready to occupy various positions. Mr. Speaker, we are ready to deliver. They should give us the chance and we will deliver. Mr. Speaker, enough of the rhetoric. Enough of the sweet words. We should be in action now. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I call on all stakeholders, government agencies, international organizations, civil society, and every Ghanaian to join forces in accelerating the gender equity agenda. Together, we can create a nation where every woman and girl have an equal chance to strive and contribute meaningfully to our collective progress. Let us rise beyond words and commit to concrete action to achieve true gender equality. Mr. Speaker, together, let us accelerate action. Thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. And my instructions to allow every woman. So let me start with Honorable Member for Tiwa East, Honorable Abna Osei Asare.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support my colleague who made a statement on the International Women's Day. I think for our nation, Ghana, we have done a lot, but there's more to be done. Thankfully, we have been able to pass our affirmative action bill, and this was under the NPP government. It had been on the shelves for about 20 good years, but I'm happy that during the time of President Akufo-Addo, we passed it, and then he also assented to it. We have done a lot for our women, like I said. For now, we have the first woman vice president. We've also had chief justices who are women. I think what is missing is a finance minister who is a woman. And I know that very soon, Ghana will be having a finance minister who is a woman. Mr. Speaker, women do a lot. We hold the economy in the home. We do a lot for our nation. All we are asking for is recognition. All we are asking for, Mr. Speaker, is recognition, because we do a lot. We are not asking for handouts. We are not asking for special privileges, but we are asking that you recognize the role we play. Because if you look at our population, the population of the world, women occupy more than 50% of the population. Yet when it comes to issues concerning women, you have more of the men, being those who, for one reason or the other, are being asked to speak on issues concerning women. Mr. Speaker, all we are asking for is not about being at par with you, but it's about recognizing our role and we complementing ourselves and making sure that at the end of the day, this world is a better place for all of us to live. We are the peacemakers, and we can make the difference as well. In every home, it is the woman who brings about peace in every role, be it at work, be it in the home, wherever we may find ourselves. So, Mr. Speaker, on this special day, we are asking, not for any handouts, but we are asking that you recognize the important role we as women play in the home, in the society, at the workplace, and the world at large. So on this note, I'd like to wish all women a happy International Women's Day, especially the hard-working women in Etiwa East constituency. I'm sure that they all are praying very hard for me, that being the first woman in the role of the chairperson of Public Accounts Committee, that I will deliver and make sure I make the women proud as well as make the nation proud. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity.
Thank you very much. Honorable ladies, by counting, we have about almost 30 women. And my instruction is to allow each one of you to speak. So please, I am going to ensure that you don't speak more than 5 minutes. You see, Honorable Ladi will obviously speak. Today is your day. If you are going to add 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, you know it's going to take a lot of time. Please bear with me. Yes.
Speaker, I'm aware that the government statistician is here to brief us, so we need to agree on the number of contributors.
Honorable Leader,
Mr. Speaker,
the instructions
is it going to be at large?
Honorable Leader, I've taken it on board that I'm allowing every lady to speak. So
Speaker,
that is why
I'm guided. Speaker, yes. I'm guided.
So I've given a word to the government statistician to at least enjoy our ladies a bit before we invite him. So he's aware of today as Women's Day. So, Honorable, 5 minutes, please, and indulge with me. I know, but I want us to understand this because of the numbers. Because of the numbers, please indulge me in 5 minutes for each lady. I think it will be enough. So I can also have time for the government statistician. Other than that, some of the ladies will not get opportunity to speak, and that will also not be fine. So 5 minutes, that's the way I'm going. Yes, Minister for Fisheries.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. I stand here also supporting the message that our leader, Honorable Comfordoyo, just gave on this day that we are marking women across the world. As the theme goes, we are talking about equity when it comes to issues relating to both men and women. I am happy that I was made a woman. I do not ever wish that I were a man, because of the responsibilities that our society places on men that sometimes are very difficult for them to bear, but they stoically go along with those responsibilities. Mr. Speaker, women hold the world together. Women in Ghana hold our economies together. Women in Ghana hold our societies together. When you take agriculture, 80% of food crop farmers are women. They make us eat. They make us move. They make us be able to serve our countries. Mr. Speaker, when it comes to the sector that I work in, the fishery sector, most of the people who make us able to eat fish are women, the fish processors. On this occasion, I doff my hat out to all women of this country, for my forebears, the women who fought ahead of us, my colleagues who are still in the jungles fighting, and the young ones that are looking up to us. I wish and pray that we will all rise together, and together we will make our motherland great and strong. God bless us all women in this country. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Let me, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the statement made by Madam Comfort Doyo, our leader from the majority side. Mr. Speaker, as we commemorate the International Women's Day, let us recognize the invaluable contributions of women in Ghana and beyond. As progress has been achieved, challenges such as gender-based violence, unequal economic opportunities, and limited leadership representation persist. We must accelerate efforts to ensure equal access to education, healthcare, and economic empowerment for all women and girls, strengthening policies to promote female leadership, and also, Mr. Speaker, strengthening policies to promote leadership, and also fostering inclusivity will drive sustainable development. Let us commit to making gender equality a reality, not an aspiration. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honorable Minister for Education, are you a lady? When the car said, yeah. Yes, Honorable Member for Kolikrote.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the statement made by Honorable Doyo, and to commend her for such a statement, and also to remind us that we did come out with a gender equity law, which was the Affirmative Action Act last year. And this is supposed to make sure that we have 50% women representation in various ministries, departments, and agencies. But in addition to that, on the continental level, the African Union has just adopted the Convention on Combating Violence Against Women and Girls. Mr. Speaker, this provides for a comprehensive legal framework that seeks to prevent, eliminate, and effectively address all forms of violence against women and girls in Africa. It also seeks to address the persistent barriers to women's participation in peacekeeping and peace-building operations. Mr. Speaker, I believe that as a show of Ghana's commitment towards realizing the equality and equity of women in our society, we must, as a matter of urgency, ratify this convention and domesticate it in order to make sure that we are not just paying lip service to the idea of women having a fair share of leadership and decision-making in this country, and to make sure that when women do present themselves in positions of authority, and when they present themselves to serve in public office, are not subjected to undue abuse, whether it's online, whether it's verbal or physical. Mr. Speaker, if we do truly aim to make sure that we have better representation in this House, it must start outside of this House. And the only way to do that is to make sure that we are ratifying and domesticating this convention, and also making sure we're implementing the Affirmative Action Act. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Yes, let me turn to.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to also contribute to the statement made by our leadership. Mr. Speaker, I would like to thank the Women Caucus leaders for making us beautiful this morning. You can see from our outfits, the ladies here are looking beautiful. Mr. Speaker, on this special day of the International Women's Day, I would like to express my heartfelt congratulations to the million women out there, especially those in Efijakwa South, with these numerous challenges, but they break all odds to meet the needs of their families and their communities. Mr. Speaker, on this occasion, we need to reflect on the realities faced by women in Ghana. And these concerns to me, I need urgent actions, need to be also to be represented. Mr. Speaker, let me use this opportunity to pose some concerns that I think will also benefit the women out there. Mr. Speaker, what has become of the affirmative action bill? Mr. Speaker, is the Ghanaian woman aware of the outcome of this affirmative action bill? Mr. Speaker, currently, what is the ratio of women to men in terms of key positions in government? Mr. Speaker, it's high time some considerations are being made to make sure that women are more inclusive in the governance of this country. Mr. Speaker, I will employ the Minister for Gender and Children Affairs to make some considerations in that part. Mr. Speaker, let me conclude by saying that women matter, and our men here, we are pleading with you also to make women cases be your matter. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving this opportunity.
Thank you very much. Yes. Let me go to Kintampo South.
Thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Speaker. To contribute to a statement made by my leader, Honorable Comfordoyo. Mr. Speaker, anytime we celebrate International Women's Day, some of us have become, I become very sad because we leave the women selling out there, the kayayus, that they get raped every day. We have some girls that they live with relatives, that they get raped, sexual harassment. They can't say anything because either they are their father or their uncle. Mr. Speaker, we live in this country where we keep talking about women, where we are the one that we suffer most of the time when anything happens in this country. Today, as we celebrate International Women's Day, I want to encourage the young women out there that they live with their relatives, whether they are house helps or they are storekeepers or they sell for somebody. Mr. Speaker, I'm a bit sad today because I got some information this morning. There's this young lady that lives with a relative, and every day the husband wants to rape her. And the moment she wants to, when she wants to talk about it.
The husband wants what?
The husband wants to rape the house help.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And anytime the lady wants to talk about or trying to tell the sister, then another relative comes. You are spoiling their marriage because of the way you behave, because of the kind of clothes that you wear. That is why my husband was interested or had interested in you. Yes, Mr. Speaker, so I want to tell the men that when they see any young woman dressing anyhow, that is how they feel like dressing. It's not their fault. So if you are a man here and you see a young lady wearing a dress that you think is transparent or you think their bum bum is shaking, please zip. Thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, let me give the minister.
Mr. Speaker, let me thank you for the opportunity to contribute to the statement ably made by the Honorable Doyo on our observing the International Women's Day in Ghana on the theme Accelerate Action for Affirmative Action. And Mr. Speaker, in commending her to recognize that as a country we should appreciate the strides we have made and the progress we have made. At least as of today, Ghana have passed an affirmative action legislation. That is the best legal framework that will guide every institution, including governance institution, the president, parliament, the speaker, the judiciary, to ensure increased and equitable representation of women in our national public life. Mr. Speaker, my second observation is for us to be sincere sometimes to some of the requests or demands we make, even in this chamber. The Constitution of 1992, let's work with it even in this chamber. The Constitution says there shall be elections of members of parliament. It does not provide for how many women can be represented or will be represented. It provides for women, if you are desirous, to go through the rigorous competitive elections. Mr. Speaker, I've heard people make reference to other countries, particularly in East Africa. Yes, it's true. They've made tremendous progress in terms of women representation, largely not because their constitutions provide for appointment of women into those positions. Not like Ghana. So in their parliament, a certain representation is dedicated for women. In their parliament, a certain representation is dedicated for youth. In Ghana's parliament, maybe we should provide for it, but that will require an amendment to the 1992 Constitution to say that even after we have gone through an election, maybe today you have 275 members of parliament, we can decide that the president appoint additional 25 women to parliament. But that can only be done if we review the 1992 Constitution as it is today. Without doing that, they must go through elections. Mr. Speaker, we've heard comments whether the president have appointed enough women or not. If you take, for instance, the current representation of parliament, maybe 31 NDC women, 10 on the other side, some 40. Then you say 50 plus 1. I should recognize Abena as the first woman chair of the Public Accounts Committee. I'm sure she will learn from the strife of the Honorable Bagbin, Honorable Kandapa, Honorable Ajima Menu, and more importantly, Honorable Aveji, the just past chairman of the Public Accounts Committee. But what we are interested in Ghana is not post-mortem, flawless examination of dead bodies. Public accounts. You wait until the mess is done and you say you are correcting it. No. If you did your work well, nobody will go to a mortuary asking for a dead body. We should strengthen our internal systems so that the abuses of embezzlement, misappropriation, and others are dealt with in a manner which is preventive. Every year, but Mr. Speaker, I'm digressing from Honorable Doyo's text. Let me come back to it. We've had the Sophia Akufu's Lady Chief Justice, Mas C.J. Georgina Wood. We now have the current Chief Justice, also a woman. We've had, undoubtedly, the first ever woman vice
Honorable
president
Minister for
of the
Education.
Republic.
Hold on, let me listen to the chairman for public accounts. He wants...
Mr. Speaker, I'm surprised my respected colleague is rather denigrating a committee of parliament. What Public Accounts Committee does is also very important and is stipulated by law. And so for him to refer to it as, I don't want to repeat it, I would beg of him to retract and apologize because it's a committee of the House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, withdrawn. So, Mr. Speaker, in fact, she reminds she falls. A quote I just found somewhere. And that women, strong women don't wait for doors. You open your own. So, Mr. Speaker, some opportunities have been given to women. In Parliament, we know the effort you and the Speaker are making to ensure that even in the parliamentary service, there are more women. I know what happens when you want to increase representation. But generally, Mr. Speaker, we should be particular about how do we strengthen and ensure more women representation in public service. The first is education. Are we providing equal educational opportunities for them? Are we providing that, whether technical or vocational education? Their health needs, are we providing adequately? So even in this parliament, all the women here go and demand gender-sensitive budget allocations. In every budget, we should pay particular attention. How much have been allocated to advance the cause of women? Then we know we are making many meaningful contributions. So, Mr. Speaker, I commend her. I conclude by saying that, yes, Ghana, we should not lose sight of the fact that we've made tremendous progress since 1993. If you look at the quality of women who have served in our national public life, including even international organizations, whether the UN or WHO, many women have distinguished themselves. Mr. Speaker, with this, I thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, let me go to Etiwa West. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity given me to contribute to Honorable Doyo, the Joint Women's Caucus leader. Mr. Speaker, in recognizing International Women's Day, it isn't only about women's achievements, which we know we have done quite considerably, or in Ghana and across the world, but it is also a reminder for us as to the work to be done, which includes accelerating action to break the barriers that hinder the progression of women, women's empowerment, and participation in all aspects of society. The World Economic Forum, the Global Gender Gap Report 2024 estimates, Mr. Speaker, that it will take 134 years to reach full gender parity. Mr. Speaker, 134 years, if we still maintain the rate of progress that we're doing today. That's roughly 5 generations. Mr. Speaker, that's beyond the United Nations 2030 Sustainable Development Goal, and it is unacceptable to wait for 5 generations to achieve gender parity. So, Mr. Speaker, despite the extraordinary contributions that women have made in politics, in education, business, economics, and what have you in between, women in especially marginalized communities continue to fight for equal rights and opportunities. However, here in Ghana, we've made quite a bold step. One of our most significant steps towards closing the gender gap is when we established the Affirmative Action Act 2024, which mandates progressive gender representation in governance, public service, judiciary, security services, and politics. The Act provides a legal framework against which it will ensure that women are included in decision-making at all levels, and it will include gender balance. But, Mr. Speaker, we must also, whilst implementing the Affirmative Action Act, hold our leaders accountable for their commitments to gender equality. It was a welcome development when President John Mahama, at the launch of the NDC's manifesto, promised to have at least 30% of his cabinet as women. However, Ghanaians were disappointed when he failed to meet that promised target. I believe our own Right Honorable Speaker Bagman mentioned this a couple of days ago when they were having an event here at Parliament House to celebrate International Women's Day. Because President Mahama has about only 10% females in his 19-member cabinet. That really needs to be looked at, because we were expecting more females. If we're going to talk the talk, we must walk as well. We established the Affirmative Action Act, and so we must get it implemented. Another point that I'd like to raise is also something that is in the NDC's manifesto, which is establishing the Women's Bank. Yesterday, the Minister of Finance was here. He mentioned that they would establish the Women's Bank, Development Bank, with an allocation of about 51.3 million Ghana cedis. Now, the Bank of Ghana in 2017 also established that the minimum capital for any bank to operate is 400 million cedis. So this raises serious concerns about the feasibility and effectiveness of the initiative of this Women's Development Bank that the President Mahama and that the Finance Minister came here to speak to. Women will be very disappointed. If we're going to have a women's bank, then we need to put the bucks where our money where our mouth is, and actually make sure that it is funded properly and it is guided by the guidelines of the Bank of Ghana's requirements so that women can actually take advantage of that. Mr. Speaker, this all serves as a reminder that words alone are not enough. Instead, we need concrete actions and real political strides to bridge the gender gap. If we are truly to accelerate action, which is the theme for this year's International Women's Day, then Ghana must not settle for token numbers. One woman here, 2 women as CEOs here, a couple of women in leadership. That's not good enough, and that's not acceptable. We must commit to exceeding these benchmarks and ensure that our parliament also reflects the full diversity and potential of our nation. Here in Parliament, we must make sure that in our committees and other groups that we do have women in there in leadership positions as chairpersons or rankings or deputy rankings, and not just have a token. Mr. Speaker, as we stand today, let's reaffirm our commitment to removing the barriers that prevent women from achieving their potential. Let us ensure that every girl has access to education, that every woman is also free from violence, and that every woman has the opportunity to participate fully in the economy of our society. Mr. Speaker, as we mark this significant occasion, I'd like to extend my greetings and heartfelt appreciation to the hardworking women of Atiwa West in all the towns, the hardworking traders, farmers, nursing, teachers, who actually support our community, hold them together, and contribute to building our nation. Their dedication and resilience is empowering and truly encouraging. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I call upon my fellow lawmakers here, citizens and institutions in Ghana to take decisive steps to accelerate action in achieving true gender parity. Together, we can actually create a more just and equitable society where every woman and girl, regardless of their stand in society, has equal access to opportunities.
Thank you.
I am ready, Mr. Speaker, to take this up. Are you, my honorable colleagues in the House? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. I haven't called you. Yes. Laddie, I'll come to you. Well, I'll come to you. Let me listen to the ladies first. Yes, Domekwa Benya.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for this opportunity to contribute on the statement delivered by Honorable Comfort Doyo Kuju. Mr. Speaker, today we join the global community in celebrating International Women's Day. Mr. Speaker, today is a special day for all women. We say Ayiko to them. This year's theme is Accelerate in Action. It is a call to action to accelerate gender priority, challenge stereotypes, and uplift the voices of women everywhere. Mr. Speaker, in Ghana, we have made significant strides in promoting gender equality. But, Mr. Speaker, we are still behind. We still have a lot to do. And, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank His Excellency John Dramani Mahama for giving us a vice president who represents us in Ghana here. Mr. Speaker, His Excellency Professor J. Nana Opoku Agyeman is the Vice President of Ghana. And Mr. Speaker, we say thank you to His Excellency for giving women this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I was very glad when the Finance Minister yesterday, in reading his budget, allocated 292.4 million cedis to provide free sanitary pads for women, girls and women in Ghana, and also allocated 5.3 million as seed money to establish the Women's Bank, which will provide empowerment and not just benefiting women globally, but families and communities. Mr. Speaker, however, we still have work to do when it comes to women in Ghana. Mr. Speaker, the girl-child education is very important, and I pray and I hope that the education minister should be able to help us promote a lot of girls, especially in the rural areas, where we still have children who are not attending school, especially girls. Mr. Speaker, as we commemorate this day, let us celebrate the achievements we have made together as women. I want to thank you for this opportunity. Mighty Yeti, Yatuma Tuma, to all the women, Yamoya, Ayuko, Moniyo, Miawe Leji, Mauneyira Miakata. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity.
Thank you very much. Yes, let him come to Amanfi Central.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I know it's not easy to, when it comes to leadership of women. Most of the time in business, in politics, people believe that the role of a woman should always be less. It's about time we need to look at women into certain positions when it comes to leadership in politics and also in business. Mr. Speaker, a leadership is not about gender. It's not about gender. It's about vision, courage, service, love. Women have all these qualities. Mr. Speaker, the young girls out there, I say dream big. You can be a doctor, you can be a teacher, you can be a scientist, and that is why His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and our Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku Agyeman, said they are there to support women and they are there to make sure that the women count a lot in Parliament here. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Yes, let me come to you. The constituency is Aguna West. Aguna West, let me hear you. Honorable members, every lady will speak. So you should all prepare. Every lady will speak. So Aguna West.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to also contribute to this August House on the statements made by our honorable leader, Comfort Doyu. Mr. Speaker, I must say women were beautifully and wonderfully created. And so women are so special to this country. Mr. Speaker, Dr. Kwedri Agri once said, when you educate a man, you educate an individual. But when you educate a woman, you educate a whole nation. Mr. Speaker, as women, when we are given leadership role, you could see that women perform wonderfully well as compared to our able men. Mr. Speaker, I must say, women take good care of all management in terms of home management and then the offices too. Mr. Speaker, women were created to also multiply. And so when you put into consideration, when there is just intercourse, you could see that a woman would take the seed and then nurture it, and then at the end of it all, will produce a human being to the nation. Mr. Speaker, to read, I would say that if you are a woman, never look down upon yourself, believe in yourself. If others are doing it, believe in yourself that you can also do it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Yes, I'm going to, yes. Which constituency?
Upper Denchira East, Mr. Speaker.
Upper Denchira East. Yes, that's Dunkwa, eh?
Yes, please.
Very well, let's hear you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity you have given unto me to contribute to the statement made by our leader, Honorable Comfort Doyo. I would dwell my statement on, Mr. Speaker, the fact that women are ever ready to contribute and carry out effectively whatever position they find themselves in. Most of the time, the attacks on women make a lot of us to withdraw. Whenever a woman wants to enter into politics, let's consider our radio landscape. Let's consider our television, how men are lambasting women. When some of this thing happens, women have no choice than to withdraw. Then the confidence that they have, they used to come and talk boldly, some of these things are withdrawn. I want to seize this opportunity to advise every woman up there that in Ghana here, we have a lot of women who have performed, who have done excellently. So they shouldn't be cowed, they shouldn't withdraw, they should all come boldly, learn from those who have performed excellently, and together we will make it as women. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very, very much. Let me now go to Kasua East. What's the name of the constituency?
Ewutu Senya East.
Ewutu Senya East.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Let's hear you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity to contribute to the statement made by our leader, Honorable Doyo. Today is International Women's Day, and I applaud every woman on the globe for this day. Mr. Speaker, it is not enough for us to always celebrate this day. I think as women, we should be able to champion certain policies that would help us achieve our purpose. Mr. Speaker, we may be happy today, we may be good, but the ordinary woman on the street out there is not happy. And if that ordinary woman on the street is not happy, then as women, we have no right to be happy. Because as women, we are representatives of all the women out there, and we need to be there for each other. It is difficult to know that a fellow woman on the street is going through a very difficult time, and we cannot help. It is not enough celebrating the International Women's Day, but it is for us to hold each other's hands. Let us go up together. Let us pull each other together. Let us make the women succeed. For women, I don't think that it is enough for you to think that the world will be at your feet. No, it is for you to be in the world and make the world work for you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Let me now move to Doma East. Doma East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to
contribute to this year's International Women's Day with the theme Equity and Equality. Let me also take the opportunity to thank our leader, Honorable Doyo, for the statement given. I therefore take this opportunity also to thank all women, especially when it comes to caring for the sick and the aged. And that reminds me of our old and our first nurse named Florence Nightingale, who was also named the Lady with the Lamp. Back to the history of Shifra and Pua, they were also midwives. And upon that, we've got many midwives in the country caring for our pregnant women. And when it comes to their delivery also, they also assist them for the women to have a safe delivery. Let me take this opportunity also to remind our women who are farmers, especially at Doma East. They've been doing a lot to serve the country and the community when it comes to feeding. Again, I want to express my sincere thanks to mothers who are single parents for caring their children and then bringing them up for their betterment when it comes to education. I therefore congratulate all women for assisting husbands, families, when it comes to the care of our children. Let me take this opportunity as well to congratulate all women, especially the old ladies who have been taking care of the aged and the sick people. More grace to our elbows as women. Congratulations. I say Ayuko to all women. And not forgetting, before a woman can do something better or good, we still need the support of the government and our husbands and brothers. With their support, women can do more and do better. Let me take this opportunity to give thanks to the people of Doma East. I say bravo to everybody. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Let me now go to Aburi. Is it Aburi East? Come again.
Equiapem South.
What's the name of the constituency? Equiapem
Equiapem
South.
South.
Very
Yes.
well, very well. Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to clear my throat on this floor. And also thank you to our leader, Honorable Comfort Doyo, for the statement ably made to commemorate the International Women's Day. Mr. Speaker, we have made significant strides in our space for women to be able to make it to this point. But Mr. Speaker, the pace at which we are going or moving is really a tortoise pace. And if we are looking to achieve gender parity, then, Mr. Speaker, we need to accelerate action now. Mr. Speaker, I want to use this opportunity to thank the people of Equiapem South for entrusting me with their mandate as a second woman as the second woman from the constituency to hold this position, which was a legacy held by the late Vida Amedi Yeboah, whose initiative, through the Fairway, empowered a lot of girls to be able to be where we are today. So, Mr. Speaker, I also want to appeal to this August House that we should increase the rate or, Mr. Speaker, the representation that we have in this parliament. We should increase it to at least 30%, just as Rwanda has been able to do it, so that there are certain seats that are reserved for women
so that we can achieve this gender parity at the rate that it ought to be. Just as our honorable member, Minister for Education, just as our honorable member, Minister for Education, elicited in his earlier comment, so that we can have more women to represent us. Mr. Speaker, on this note, I would also plead upon this August House that we are able to accelerate action so that we can be part of the International Parliamentary Union by 2028, so that we will not be observers. Because based on their recommendation, we need about 30% representation of women in each parliament so that we can be taken very serious at that union. So, Mr. Speaker, with these few words, I want to congratulate all women in this country and globally for the great strides we have made in the political space, in other leadership roles. Mr. Speaker, I also want to use this opportunity to congratulate the women, the good people in Ekrap himself, for the very great contribution that they have made in the farming sector, in the market sector. As a woman coming from, as a daughter of a market woman, I really want to commend their efforts and the contributions that they are making to bring Ghana to the point we are today. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for this great opportunity.
Thank you very, very much. Walanyo, sit down. I'll come to you. Honorable members, please, Walanyo, I haven't called you. Honorable members, let me now turn to Nana Hima. Every lady is speaking, so you say something to us. So let's hear you. Nana, just get up and congratulate women. And yes, a member for Kwama Insuta.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this great opportunity. Mr. Speaker, women are so special in the global world, especially women who are working and also nursing as well. I want to take this opportunity to congratulate all women all over the world, especially in this parliament, women, because we take a lot of patience when we go to our constituency, and we have a lot of schedules when we come to work as well. So we have so many things to do. As I'm standing here, I'm so tired because I went to the constituency this weekend. But because we are caring, the constituency also likes us, the women a lot. So I will say thank you, and I equal to all women in the global world. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this great opportunity.
Thank you very much. I don't want a situation whereby I will leave any woman behind. So that's why I force her to speak. Yes, let me go to Sunyani West. That is Sunyani West. Sunyani West.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to contribute to the International Women's Day. I am humbly honored to be in this chamber as we celebrate the International Women's Day in the year 2025. All because I will be part of their mind with self-esteem, confidence, self-actualization. Then we move to the youth. women in leadership, women that need mentorship. Let us get closer to our young ones. Again, as leaders, getting the opportunity to lead in so many aspects and sectors of life. Women in politics, women in business, women in ministry. Let us start this course. And I am super happy because this year is to accelerate action. We are moving quickly, and I pledge to be part, to start and join the army to rise and to accelerate this action of women in equity and equalization. I will pledge and encourage the House within our own communities. We have a lot of women there. Let us start from our doorsteps. And I believe with togetherness, we'll be able to achieve whatever we envisage. And lastly, as a member of Parliament for Sunyani West, would make sure that any policies that we need to reform to make sure we execute this, we'll do exactly that. I say bravo to every woman, from the house to the market, to the farm, CEOs, and even leaders globally, that we appreciate your fight and will continue to hold ourselves in high esteem. Congratulations to every woman once again. Thank you.
Yes, let me go to Almighty Laddie. And I'll give you one. Yes, Laddie.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the statement ably made by our leader, Honorable Comfort Doyo. Let me also congratulate all the women in this House for making sure that at least, if for nothing at all, we presented ourselves, worked hard, we won the elections, and we are here competing with the men. Congratulations to us. Mr. Speaker, it is very interesting to note that it is quite difficult. It's been not less than 30 years down the line. Ever since the Beijing conference, the declaration was made. 30 years down the line, and I can give thanks and praises to Nana Konadu Ejuman Rawlings, who led this particular activity and made sure that when she came back to Ghana, some of us were deeply involved in the 31st December Women's Movement. That has moved us to this level. We thank her very much. We are very grateful and we appreciate. Mr. Speaker, I'll move on to thank our President for ensuring that we have the first female Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku Agyeman. Mr. Speaker, she has the competence. She had been determined. She has the knowledge. She is of substance. I am saying these things because many a times, these are about some of the things that the men use to pull us down. I want to tell every woman in Ghana, every woman in Pusiga, that we are competent. And what the men can do, the women can do it even better. Mr. Speaker, let me go in to thank some of the past and present women who have at least kept the flame on. I will wish to thank and to congratulate Honorable Cecilia Johnson, who was the first female minister for local government. And I'll go on to thank my own sister, Hajia Alima, who was also a minister for local government. My late sister, Honorable Hawa Yakubu, was a very big inspiration to me. She did her best. She is from Pusiga. And I would also congratulate Hajia Fati Sedu, who was also a member of parliament. Mr. Speaker, these are women who were produced by Pusiga. And so I will say a very big thank you to the people of Pusiga for ensuring and seeing that, yes, we women, we can. And we are actually doing our best. Mr. Speaker, I am not playing politics. I am saying it as it is. And I want that any government, whichever government, even any government that is not yet born or has never come to being, should continue to give support to women. Each and every one of us, whether you are a man or a woman, you were born by a woman. If you have no wife, you have a sister. If you have no sister, you have an aunt. You have no aunt, you have a mother. None of us here can run away from a woman. Why do we think that women have that weakness? When a woman carried you in her womb for 9 months, gave birth to you, took care of you, and yet today you can think that the woman cannot do anything better. I believe that we need to wake up from the core. Mr. Speaker, I wish to state the President's support and ensuring that an amount of 293 billion has been made, million has been made available for the purchase of sanitary pads to be distributed to the girls in school. Whichever girl it is that will benefit from this would say a very big thank you. Teposia, Tuma, to the President, because there are some who have to stop school and go to sell before they are able to buy sanitary pads. And we all know that menstruation is not just that we want it, it's a need. And so we need that support. And we are not equal. So that support is very important. The President also made available a seed amount of 5.3 million for the Women's Bank. And this is not going to go to those of us maybe who are at this level. It's going to go to help the woman at the grassroots who needs maybe only 200 Ghana cedis to buy some salt and pepper or granite to sell. We thank you, Mr. President, and we pray that all other successive governments would emulate this and continue to support
And I also thank
women.
you.
Mr. Speaker, let me thank you, Mr. Speaker, and our substantive Speaker for enabling us to pass the Affirmative Action Bill, action on the Equity Action Bill 1121. Mr. Speaker, we are very grateful. Last but not the least, Mr. Speaker, let us enforce it. We shouldn't just sit down and say we have a bill or an action that has an act that has been passed. If the act is passed and then we don't make good use of it, it will be of no use. We shouldn't let it go and lie on the shelves while we say we have an act. That 30%, let us make sure that it works for all of us. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the 5 minutes.
Thank you. Honorable members, looking at it, I'll only restrict myself. Let me give it to the final person because all the men are up. Honorable members, please listen to me. That would have been the best arrangement, that the men will also complement our ladies. But like I said, honorable members, we have a very important personality here, the government statistician. He's here at our own instance to come and have some discussion with us. He's been sitting here for all this while. So, anyway, I'm asked that I should give one. So, let me go to former Minister for Defense. Ma, you are going to be the last person to talk.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, it is important for... First of all, let me thank the maker of the statement, our Deputy Whip, who has been a long-time member of Parliament here, for bringing this statement to commemorate the Women's Day, International Women's Day. And Mr. Speaker, it is important for us as men to eulogize the women. It's important for us to let the world know, especially in Ghana here, the importance of women in our lives, the importance of women in society, and the role that women play. It's not for nothing that God himself, or God herself, I don't want to be so manly to say himself only, but God decided that a man needed a companion with those who are Christians and created a woman to become a companion. It only shows that without a woman, it's very difficult for the men alone to inhabit this world. We have to accept that fact. Mr. Speaker, it's important for us first to congratulate the women who have made it to this house, 40 of them. It's very difficult to win an election. It's very difficult to stand, campaign, and win an election. And a lot of these women actually defeated men to be here. So let's congratulate them first and say that other women should take inspiration from what they have done so that the next parliament we can have, instead of 40, we have 80 to 100 women. Then that's where we are going to start from. Because if we keep the numbers at 40 and we don't project to at least half of the members here, then we are not doing ourselves any good. I don't have a problem giving my seat to a woman. But she has to beat me. She has to compete. It's as simple as that. But Mr. Speaker, I want to say that let every man, whether you are married or unmarried, because you came from the womb of a woman and you know what has happened in your home, let every man, especially every husband, experience the absence of the wife for just 1 week, 7 days with kids. Then you would understand. No, there's no, I don't want to have a situation, Mr. Speaker, where we are going to have servants and you, the man, just take off that household for just 2 days without your wife. Then you can understand the importance of women. When kids are kicking your stomach, another one is running, you have to clean the kids up, dress and take the child to school, you would understand that without the woman, there is no home. Without understand that without the woman, you will never call something a home. You will need a woman. And so, people who say, what did you bring to the table? Why? What are you doing? I can tell you that the women work, if you were to apportion time by percentages, the women work 60 to 70%. Yes, it's true. 60 to 70% of what happens in the house. And that is a fact. Even in our traditional home, even majority of traditional home, the men just provide the food and then go and relax. The women are those who look for the water. The women are those who will cook. The women are those who will clean. The women are those who clean up the place. They take care of virtually everything, and we just enjoy ourselves. We call ourselves alpha men. If you go to the animal kingdom, the lion's kingdom, if you know the behavior of an alpha man, then you would understand what it is. So women are more important, very, very important, Mr. Speaker. And so we must eulogize the women and celebrate today. In fact, it was on Saturday. Celebrate this year and celebrate. I don't know how many of us, Mr. Speaker, bought a gift for our wives and our Well, I would say our girlfriends. Those who are not married. No, but you must have a girlfriend before you marry. So some people obviously have girlfriends. Some people have wives. And some people are cohabitating. I don't know why they are cohabitating, but some people are cohabitating. But whatever the case, how many of us remembered that Saturday was a woman's day, and so we should buy something for our wives? I think we are virtually moving away from that day and celebrating Valentine. They call it Love Day. But I think that we should look at the International Women's Day and make it a big issue for us. Because, Mr. Speaker, Ghanaian women are very hardworking. 60% of the small businesses in Ghana are owned by women. And without the women contributing to that, our economy will suffer. If the women stop working today, we are going to have a crash economy. Because a lot of the small businesses, from Makwala to Tamale Market, to Elubu Market, to Zambrama Market, is the women who are doing the small petty trading. We may not see it, but I can tell you, Mr. Speaker, that what they do, and if you go to the communities, you go to the villages, and you see what the women do, sometimes it's frightening. And I think that the women should look at it. You go to a community, a man is coming from the farm with a wife, she's pregnant, she's carrying another child at the back, and holding another one. The man is holding the cudgel or the cutlass and following. And she's carrying something on top of her hair. It's happening every day. Or the man just rides his motorbike or his bicycle and goes home. It happens every day. The women will come home. If they don't have a helper, they will then have to go to the stream, or they will have to go to the borehole and go and fetch the water. The man comes home, then she fetches water. I'm telling you what happens in the villages, because I'm from one. She fetches water, goes to give the man will bath and come and sit down again. And now she has to then start cooking. She finishes the cooking, cleans the pots, sweep up the place, mop up the place. The next day by 5 o'clock, she's up again to do a similar thing. So, Mr. Speaker, I can say, which one? Mr. Speaker, she says I've forgotten what happens between the hours of 10 and then 5 p.m. 5 a.m. where you have to wake her up and be disturbing her. When she says she's tired, then some people start beating them. But it's not their fault. The truth is that with that, the women doing what they do, the men will have difficulty. Yes, it is true that some men still don't understand, including myself, don't understand the role of women in our lives and in the society, and so think that they are either disturbing, or they give him headache, or they give you this. But I can tell you that women are so important in society. But let's come to leadership. Are we giving women enough, and propping them enough to give them leadership in Ghana, even in Ghana? Are we? Today, women are doing very well in school, if not beating men in schools. So it is not the issue of women not knowing or women not being clever enough. They are as clever as the men. But are we giving them enough advantages to be able to excel in leadership? Sometimes they say women are their own enemy. If women were to decide today that they're going to vote for the only women, I don't think we'll have any man sitting in this chamber. And that's a fact, because they're more than us. But maybe because of lack of trust, they will vote for the man and leave that woman. But the truth of the matter is that men must make conscious efforts to make sure that the Affirmative Action Act, that act, we implement it one by one. And as chairman of the Assurances Committee, I am going to checkmate the president to see step by step. Step by step. Yes, step by step, how he's implementing it. From the 30% promise that he has given, I will checkmate it step by step. Because it's important, Mr. Speaker. It's important that we do that. In some countries, they do proportional representation to cure the aspect of giving women. So if you have 200-member parliament, they make proportional representation to ensure that at least half of the people are women. Rwanda is doing it, Uganda is doing it, and a few other places are doing it. Ghana, unfortunately, we have the situation whereby everybody goes for an election. So the only thing we can use to cure is appointments. How many of the women here have been appointed? Are we meeting the quota? It may not be all ministers, but there are other places that the president has to use to be able to do that. Boards, that, several places that the president has to use, and he has to do it. It doesn't matter whichever government wins, but any government that wins, that government must ensure that women are represented and represented well.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much. Honorable members, I think I said 1-1. So, I don't know. Okay, let me give it to Alanyo. I will be unfair if I deny him because he, right from the onset, had wanted to speak. So, Walanyo, I'll give you the floor, but within 5 minutes.
Jerry. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. It's good to appreciate our mothers, women in Ghana, especially Ghana's parliament. I say I equal to them. Let me say another equal to the women in Hokwe constituency. It's not about campaign, just to appreciate them. I know it has not been easy for women to compete in our society, Ghanaian society, to compete at the same level with men. Whatever they do, it is about competition with we the men. And looking at what they go through daily to be in that competition with that and still win every day in the morning, we have to salute our women before even taking our bath. Remembering my mother, what she went through after our father left us. Sometimes it is something else. We just have to appreciate them. I want to appreciate 3 people, that's 3 women, Mr. Speaker. Nana Konadu Ajimai Rawlings. Growing up, there was this song that we've been hearing in our homes. That's by the 31st December Women's Movement.
Honorable, hold on. Honorable members, please, I don't expect you to leave. We need members to listen to the government statistician. So please, don't check out from the chamber, please.
31st December Women's Movement, formed by Nana Konadu Ajimai Rawlings. This is a song that we grew up to be singing in our various homes without understanding until recently. Ghana unchuo wano afemia demiagbo. Ghana unchuo wano afemia demiagbo. Ghana unchuo wano afemia demiagbo. Ghana nyono wa nyatuo dada. Ye 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 ye. Ghana nyono wa nyatuo dada. What it simply means is the men in Ghana should stay home so that our women can also go out there and learn how to shoot, quote unquote. And this is a message that we did not understand then, but it's a message that resonated with the women. They stood up, they fought for what they think they can fight for. And today, all of us here are very proud of that woman. Our current First Lady did a lot. In fact, she said, she personally spoke to me about it, that mother-child death during their maternity period to the time they will give birth is something that has to be 0. That's why even in opposition, Mr. Speaker, she goes around building maternity wards and hospitals, which I benefited before I became a member of parliament. We need to appreciate her for holding women in high esteem. Our current vice president, this is to show the world that NDC, we don't just appreciate women by mouth. We appointed, in fact, the first female vice president. NPP has never done that before. We have done it. Ghanaians, the people of Ghana have supported us. The people of Ghana have supported us to present the first female vice president to the Republic of Ghana. It's something that we should all be appreciative about.
Thank you.
We want to thank our women. We want to thank our mothers for sacrificing all they have for us to be whom we are today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you so much. Honorable members, we've had enough. You listen to the minority deputy leader, who is a woman. He is closing the chapter onto this. Honorable Piki, please, please. We've had enough.
Mr. Speaker, I just wanted to salute. No, listen to me. Mr. Speaker, I just wanted to salute our wonderful women in this house, especially hearing from Honorable Doyo. Honorable Doyo, what we are saying is that we love you. Mwah. Your statement was nice. Mwah.
He has finished. So, Honorable Patricia Page.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute towards the statement ably made by my Honorable Chair of the Women Caucus. And I must commend her highly for initiating this statement because it's something that is very dear to my heart. But before I go on to make my side of the contribution, I would like to acknowledge the roles that have been played by numerous first ladies in this country. In celebrating the women, I'd like to commend them, for which our own Nana Kunedu Ajimai-Rawlings was the first one to undertake the Beijing conference and then undertake the pursuit of the women's agenda. And there's something that he said which I always want to remind ourselves. One statement that he's made, and we have never forgotten about it, is that we must be bold. Be bold. And we also commend our former heads of state, first ladies, heads of state, wives, those who have passed on and those who are living at this point in time. It is a role that is very, very difficult. And I must tell you that if we celebrate a day where we are eulogizing women, we should never forget our first ladies. Because even given a role as a leader anywhere, you can attest to the fact, and especially the men, you can attest to the fact, the roles that are played by your spouses. It is something that we cannot ignore. So I'll take this opportunity to commend them highly, and I'll also doing so, I also take this opportunity for the 4 main women parliamentarians who have served for their 4th time in Parliament. It is not easy. First, to ensure that you seat a man. And secondly, to be able to withstand all the pressures, including what you even face domestically. Mr. Speaker, a number of statements have been made to underscore the point of the importance of women in our society. And it goes without saying that if we're celebrating a day like this, and the theme is accelerate action, it is important that we look at most of the factors that can help us accelerate the action of achieving the equality that we want. What are we talking about? I like the contribution made by Honorable Minister for Education, Honorable Haruna Idrisu, emphasizing the need for us to look at our Constitution and the need to review the Constitution. Much as I agree with him on this point, I would like to also emphasize that all of us here have a role to play.
We are the representatives of the people out there. Luckily, we have passed the legislative instrument in the name of Affirmative Action Law 1121 of 2024. What is going to be our role to ensure that we educate, as was his bid? We need to educate people to accept the very existence of women, not as a superior being or a lesser being, but as partners with our male counterparts. So if we are in this parliament and we have the Affirmative Action Act, it behoves on each and every individual here to do the education. Mr. Speaker, I'm happy that we invited the Minister for Gender here to know exactly what are the steps or the strategies he's adopting to ensure the implementation of the Affirmative Action Act. I think he's been given a number of steps, and we have to pay particular attention to that and ensure that the implementation will go on smoothly without any hitches. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to state that on the day that the President came to give the SONA, he made a specific statement which personally I felt was an excuse to exonerate himself from not being able to achieve the required percentage for the inclusion of women in the appointments that he was offering out there. And then he mentioned specifically that in the case of even the local governors, he's finding it difficult to find the right women to occupy those positions. And I would like to plead with our president that, Mr. President, you can make a deliberate effort for people to search each district, and you will be able to identify a capable woman who can occupy that seat, and that 30% will be achieved. I don't think we've put our mind to ways of ensuring that we are going to identify the right people to occupy the spaces. We are only giving excuses for what we feel might be a difficult task to undertake. And Mr. Speaker, I feel that what we have a number of barriers that we need to break. It is important that as Parliament, not only for the sake of the women, or not, the responsibility doesn't lie only with the women, but men as well, to be sure of what is happening and ensuring the implementation of the Affirmative Action Act. We need to engage Parliament, members of Parliament, to understand and then carry this one through to our various constituencies and create awareness. That awareness creation is very important. And then we can educate and let people know some of the things that we do that would not help us. Try and identify the right people, because the theme is accelerate action. And it is if each and everyone over here is playing its role, and you can even identify one woman to do something. If you look at the multipliers effect, it is definitely going to help with the process. And Mr. Speaker, I want to congratulate everybody who appreciates the role that women have played, everybody who doesn't think that pursuing gender or women's affair is only being a feminist, but we are thinking through what the future of our children, our female children, our female grandchildren, and ensuring that they become part of the leadership of the country. Mr. Speaker, I realize that you are in a rush and you want to calm it down. So what I would say with these few words, I am adding my voice to congratulate all women and the achievements they've made so far, especially our new members of parliament who have the female parliamentarians who have unseated the men and be here to contribute their quota towards the achievement of gender equality. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you very much. I think the leader would like to conclude by 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I know you are pressed for time, but I want to take this opportunity for saying a few words to the statement ably made by Honorable Comfort Doyle. Mr. Speaker, I will take the opportunity to also congratulate all women for today. Mr. Speaker, women play a very important role in this nation and around the world. Mr. Speaker, earlier on a statement was made, which was made by one famous Ghanaian, Dr. Kujiri Agri, that if you educate a man, you educate an individual, but you do educate a woman, you do educate a nation. Mr. Speaker, this statement was made about 125 years ago. I wonder, it's ironic that we have the government statistician here. I wonder how much research he had done to come to that conclusion that you educate a woman, you will actually educate a nation. Mr. Speaker, if that statement were to be made today, you will say that if you educate a woman, you will probably educate a continent. Mr. Speaker, women play a very important role. A lot of advice or a lot of decisions that are made by men are actually made by women. When they say women control the world, women actually control the world. When you hear people saying that a certain man was making a decision that they think is not the right decision, and the answer when they will say that they are sure that it was his wife who advised him to make that decision. So a lot of decisions are being made by women. We should celebrate our women. Affirmative action is not an event. It's an accelerated, something that we should be doing in progress. And I thank His Excellency the President for choosing a female as his partner to become the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana. And he is appointing women to occupy positions. We should be looking at in the future, not only in political circles, but in boardrooms and executive positions, how many women we have there. And it's not just appointing them to those positions, but actually supporting them to keep them there. Mr. Speaker, I congratulate all women today, and I wish them a very fruitful and a very good day. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me thank all the ladies here. I think I'm happy that I've been able to allow every woman in this chamber, at least those who were present, have been given the opportunity to speak. So on that note, we congratulate the women all over the world, those in Fomena constituency as well, and my wife and family. Now, incidentally, all my children are ladies, and therefore, so Honorable Comfordoyo, thank you very much. Honorable members, we are bringing statement to a close. We will constitute the House into committee of the whole to enable the government statistician have discussion with us. So I will suspend sitting so that we constitute the House into leader what?
Sorry, Mr. Speaker. Yeah, I thought we want to adjourn the House before we do the committee of the whole. Is that not?
Honorable Speaker, I was of the view that once you adjourn, but session will still be continued with the committee of the whole. So once you adjourn, you allow members to go away. But we are not adjourning now. We are just breaking the session by suspending it. And then we can, yes.
Okay, very well, Honorable.
I think it's almost the same, but I'll go with what my party is saying. Let's suspend, we engage our guests, and afterwards we adjourn the House. So, honorable members, indulge me to suspend the House for just 2 minutes so that we constitute the House into Committee of the Whole.